But yeah, very excited for this. Let's hopefully get out of echo with this stream tonight. Nope, I am not cute. Nah. I can still feel the stitches in my leg, even though I pulled out the little bits of line a half hour ago. Despite living here a vast majority of my life, even I had trouble figuring out where the hell we were. As I walk and the stinging throbs with every step, I close my eyes and realize how exhausted I really am. Running off extreme adrenaline for a day will take the wind out of you. So will multiple blows to the head and torture, apparently. I keep imagining that when I open my eyes, I'll be back in my dorm. I'll sit up from my bed and Vincent will be tapping away at his laptop from the other side of the room. I tell him I had a fucked up dream and he'd tell me that in that too cool for school tone to blog about it. The rhythmic tapping was at first really annoying, but now it's kind of like a white noise machine. It helps me sleep for some weird reason. Maybe it's because it makes me feel like I'm not so alone. Chase. I inhale sharply, nearly tripping over a clump of weeds. Jenna places a precautionary arm out in front of me before easing back when she sees I've got my balance again. Gotta hydrate? Gotcha. Also, hello, Seer. Welcome on in. The Blep welcomes you. You still with us? She looks up at me up and down as if looking for signs that I'm turning into another Leo situation. Said wolf is still with us, ambling along like he can't even feel that half of his leg was stitched to mine less than an hour ago. I look back at her, nodding. Yeah, exhausted, but that's to be expected, I guess. Ordinarily, I'd love a quiet walk with you at night, though considering the circumstances. She pauses, looking over her shoulder. Well, it could be worse. You had a guardian angel. She noticeably stiffens as I bring up the topic of what just happened. I'm trying not to think about it. None of us had gone around to check out where Brian was dragged. In fact, we made a beeline in the opposite direction. Ordinarily, the lights of the town would guide us where to go, but everything's dark. The moon our only real source of light. And even that's partially obscured. The productive thing to do is just to think ahead right now. We'll come into town along with the back roads to get to the motel and take your car. Bark, thank you so much for the pats, but bark. I give her an affirmative thumbs up. Micah, meanwhile, is clutching his knife tight. It reminds me of how he was with the wrench earlier, when he was worried about Leo attacking him. Now the two walk nearly side by side. Everyone but Leo is rattled, that's for sure. I can't tell if it's the supposed hysteria's fault, or a completely rational reaction to all the shit that's happened today. Micah's usually arrogant and gruff demeanor is replaced by a more timid posture, the bat rubbing his neck like he can't believe he's alive. Oh, that's right, because like in the last one, Brian kind of hung him with blades. Oh man, ugh! I don't want to think about that scene again. I try to think of something to say as he turns to face me. Micah, I'm sorry about Keith. Yeah. He responds simply, sucking in his lower lip for a moment between one of his fangs before speaking again. I'm still not sure exactly what happened, but now I have a more definitive idea. He looks ahead again, shifting the topic. I had a dream about you, you know. Oh? After we spoke, I only got a little bit of sleep, but what I did dream stuck out to me. You were holding me underwater, drowning me. Oh, that's the scene with Sydney. That's Sydney's POV right there. I think I missed a bunch of stuff. Yeah, this game, like, there's so much writing in this game, and there's so much storytelling that just happens. Like, it's easy to miss if you miss a stream or two. Jenna looks over, raising her brow curiously at the bat. Leo stares straight ahead, unfazed. That's weird. Why are you telling me this? Micah waves his hand, dismissing my question as he continues. You were holding me underwater and it was fucking terrifying. Because I couldn't breathe. Your hands around my throat felt exactly like that noose did, the way they bristled and cut into my neck. He points to the matted fur around his throat, the pinkish raw rubbed flesh visible even in the dark. That could be Flynn. Oh, that's right, because they did talk about that too. Well, in Flynn's route, they expressed that in full detail. But TJ was just kind of like the build-up. But talking emotionally and shit, I started feeling thankful. Thankful that I was killing you? That's rather macabre. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. There's so many words in this game that even I don't know. What a wonderful time to join the stream when people are talking about being drowned. Welcome on in, Unknown. We're playing Echo, and yes, there is a lot of crazy shit that this game will tell you about. The bat nods, seemingly well aware of how strange this sounds. Yet he doesn't relent, noting how exceptionally strange everything else has been lately. I'd be willing to take anything at face value at this point. Like you were freeing me. Real fucked up suicidal shit. When I was up in that noose though, I didn't want to die, so that part didn't translate. Honestly surprised I didn't piss and shit myself. Did you guys? Jenna stares blankly at him. No, I did not, no. Leo, of course, is silent. I think I almost left town a couple days ago. Would have never gotten caught up in this mess. Heard my fair share of shit in my time, shouldn't be anything I haven't heard before. Alrighty. Well, that'll be our challenge for today's stream. Well, why did you really disappear the first time, back in 2008? Micah fiddles with something in his pocket, taking it out and peering it over. I can't quite make out what it is. Something plastic and thick. A lot of reasons. My folks turned on me after finding out about some shit one night. Came home to find my room torn up, all my belongings outside. My mom, the cunt, wouldn't stop fucking bawling, screeching like a dying chicken at me. My dad, meanwhile, had this old police baton. Kept coming at me with it whenever I tried to come inside. Kept screaming to let me in and apologizing for every little screw-up that I could think of. None of it worked. I tried to sleep on the porch, but Dad came out and started kicking me in the back till I left. Jenna grimaces. That's awful. Leo looks back over his shoulder, slowing his pace some to match ours. I can tell he's at least half listening now, no longer as spaced out. Keith was gone, and I didn't have anywhere else to go. Wasn't too popular, as I recall, even with Heather, Clint, and Jeremy. They had their own problems. You should have told me. The words catch Micah by surprise, the wolf staring at him from across the shrubbery. Hey, I know we just survived a near-death experience together, but no need to be getting all retroactively sappy. Sounds like the average weekday. Wow. We turned a small bend around a sandy embankment, some old car parts scattered in the underbush. The moon is finally visible from behind Echo Canyon, and I can make out what Micah's carrying. It's Brian's cell phone! I guess he's gonna try to take that in as evidence. As he moves to push it back into his pocket, it slips and clatters against a rock beneath him. Ah, fuck! I'll get it. Leo bends down, taking hold of the phone. The screen is shattered, and a few slivers of glass fall to the ground. Damn it! The bat extends out his hand. Thanks. Leo doesn't budge, still staring at the shattered device. Then from beyond the desert scrub and scattered car parts, a mechanical roar. Light flashes before us, and Leo holds up his paw to shield himself from the light. It takes me a moment to realize they're headlights, and the roar is the start of an old engine. It's a van, and it's sitting right in front of us. And it's all too familiar. Oh, wait, is it the van from the dream? Oh my god, it is. What the? Jenna reels back, her eyes are wide. That wasn't there a moment ago. She mutters, craning her neck some to peer through the red-tinted window to see who's behind the wheel. After a moment of inspection, it's clear that there's no one inside. You didn't play Route... No, I have not played Route 65 yet. Jenna? What? Jenna, this is the van from the dream. The one I told you about? Oh, come on. Jenna doesn't sound incredulous to my exclaim, just exhausted. She crosses her arms tightly over her chest, not letting her eyes leave sight of the idling vehicle. Okay then, what's it doing here? Hey, that looks like an ice cream truck I saw years ago. Man, remember when ice cream trucks used to be a thing? I kinda miss it now. Also, I do still find it weird that they have Jenna's old design in here and then they have the new one. Like, I don't know. That's just a little bit weird to me, but you know, I get why they did the redesign. Yeah, in some neighborhoods you'll hear ice cream trucks, but I don't hear them anymore. I don't have an answer for her, and therefore remain silent, stepping away from the front of the vehicle in case it somehow takes off. Micah, meanwhile, looks confused. He peers around, his yellow eyes are bright and shimmering in the focus of the headlights. The fuck? I know where we are, but we were never heading into town toward the motel. How the fuck are we here? Oh, but we were heading into town. I'm an idiot. We didn't cross the highway, did we? I looked to our east, and sure enough, there it is, the weathered asphalt of Route 65. I would have noticed it if we crossed the pavement. Someone would have. It's the complete opposite direction that we should be heading. Jenna gasped, seemingly realizing that this is a little after the rest of us. We've been here before. Leo speaks up, clutching the side of his head with a wince. You recognize it too, right? Leo still sounds half asleep, turning to face us, though it appears that he's only speaking to Micah and I. The bat blinks. Oh, fuck. You dreamed about this too, Chase? I swallow and nod, clutching my clammy paws against my shirt. I think so. The dream from earlier had already begun to fade from my memory, as most dreams do, but the way I felt watching it is still very clear, and this whole scene is starting to give me some serious deja vu or something like it. There was an albino guy. He had bright red eyes and got ran over. The van's motor continues to idle, humming as it waits. Mine was a little different. Micah doesn't elaborate. No, we've been here before in real life. Implying that this is not real life? Micah glances over at the wolf and the two exchange a look for a moment. Jenna steps forward and tugs at the driver's side door. It opens with a quiet creak, some errant cobwebs fraying apart as the door is pulled fully open. She squints at something by the wheel, then reaches in and taps it. Keys are in the ignition and there's this big red glare on the dash. Maybe a check engine light? She frowns to herself. It looks like this thing hasn't been used in a while. Sans whoever turned this on, but I'm no mechanic. If only there was one among us now. Leo? She pokes her head out, raising an inquisitive brow at the wolf. You're welcome to take a look if you're feeling up to it. She eyes Leo up, examining his physical condition. Her expression is a mixture of skepticism and concern. Leo begins to limp towards the van, and Micah quickly steps up beside him to keep him from tipping over. He grunts appreciatively in response, speaking up. It's probably not a check engine light. What makes you say that? Those didn't really exist back when this was made, before the mid-90s. Are you guys thinking we can drive this out of Echo? I'm a little more concerned with wondering who turned this on in the first place, and how you even got here, but that's an optimistic thought, Chase. So maybe this is a gift horse that we're looking squarely in the mouth right now? Doubt it. There's one thing I wish they changed. The 80s is when the engine light... Oh, I got you. Cause yeah, I remember like 90s cars, they did have check engine lights. Like I mean, I've been in enough like old Honda Civics to know. Like the 90s Civics and stuff. Like I've been in cars like that. They do have check engine lights. I'm now realizing that. Micah rasps, helping Leo prop himself against the driver's side door as Jenna steps aside. The light, it looks like it isn't coming from the dash. Leo clumsily grasps at the steering wheel, peering closer. It's like it's being reflected off the odometer, but I don't see a direct source. It don't sound right, then something ain't right. Yeah, something is not right about this fucking van here. I don't like the presentation at all. Like, I do like the presentation, but I don't like these ideas that they're having. How can Leo see clearly at all after repeated blows to the head may be the real question here. That's fucking weird. A shuffling noise comes from the back of the van and everyone freezes. There's a raggedy fabric partition hiding everything past the front seats from view. Gingerly, Leo pulls it aside and squints into a red light illuminating his face. Is anyone back there? Leo doesn't immediately respond, and I can't see him well from where I'm standing. I limp my way up beside Jenna. Leo? She inquires again, more urgent. No, not right now. There's something back there, though. Well, that's obvious enough. I'm too big to squeeze between the seats. Gonna go around. Everyone takes a step back out of the now seemingly coherent Wolf's way as he exits the van. Oh, jeez. Fucking deja vu, something fierce right now. You too? Jenna gives us both a quizzical look as Leo braces the handle of the rusted van door and gives it a yank. At first it doesn't budge, but another hard tug and the door flies open, one door partially unhinged as it dangles to the side. There's something standing in the middle of the van on three spindly legs. The red light projects from something on top and it begins to flash on and off. A camera on a tripod? At first I think it's mine, but upon closer inspection it looks like an older model. No fucking way. Micah quickly backs away, nearly tripping over a prickly pear cactus in his haste. Nope. This ain't real. Everyone pack it up. We're being filmed? What is this, some elaborate prank show? It's 100% not funny. Hyperion, hi! Welcome on in, buddy. Bark. The blood welcomes you. How's it going, friend? Happy to have you with us. Hold on, let me move my phone right here. You did a thing? Ooh, what'd you do, buddy? Leo says nothing, climbing up to the back of the van and turning the display monitor on the camera around. On it, a little red dot in the corner flashes on and off, in time with the illumination of the rest of the cab. The display screen itself shows us standing there at the back of the van, though the image is fuzzy and distorted. I wonder how long this has been here. That's my camera! Micah shouts in surprise, looking briefly to the rest of us before lowering his voice some. Or, well, the high school's camera, but they were shit at keeping inventory. I ditched it after my folks kicked me out. Okay, but what's it doing here, and why is it recording? Judging by the looks on everyone's faces, I don't think anyone has an answer to that. Leo brings a heavy paw up to his eyes, rubbing them before peering at Micah, then the screen, then back again. Micah cants his head sub at the wolf, letting out a slow exhale. A certain secret sky edit with the voice. Oh! You're using the Secret Sky version of Sea of Voices now, are ya? Either this is one fucked up joke, Wolf Boy, or I'm beginning to think that this is Hum's doing. The Hum. He mentioned that before by the motel. Wow. I haven't heard that word in a while. What's the Hum? It's this music in the back. That's probably the Hum. It's hard to describe. Bad dreams, like we talked about before. Feels kind of like a Vision Quest shit. Real spiritual stuff that Keith talked about a lot. Wasn't good vibes though. Bad energy only. Thing is, it only really happens when you're sleeping, and I'm wide ass awake. He extends his arms out to his sides for a moment before gripping to the van's door, thumbing at the chipping paint. I haven't thought about that in a while. Jeremy and Adam talked about it when I was younger, and after I mentioned seeing the thing we saw in a half hour ago, she wants to say, but she still visibly can't quite accept that. Not yet. Telegram later? Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely have to take a listen to it. That version I've also kind of been eyeing for a hot minute now. So, you know, who knows? I might use that for something. Yes, do be giving the shoutouts to Hyperion. Fortnite? You play Fortnite? Ew, Fortnite. You know what? I don't, but as I was saying, you can still kind of tell when it's happening because it's more than just a nightmare and your ears start buzzing. Like one of those orchestra bands tuning up. Violins in your skull, you know? A creeping sensation that I know exactly what he's talking about builds in my gut. You hear it too? What, like right now? Leo stares for a moment before nodding. One of the bat's large ears flicks and he turns his head from side to side. I don't think so. He pauses. Might be the engine. He shifts attention back to the vehicle, yanking on the van's door some. Spooky ass ghost van engine. You're the puppy, Hyperion. I don't make the rules. You were voted the world's smallest puppy. Like you hear the hum every time something happens in Echo. Yeah, like whenever the hum happens, like I mean, I'm glad that they now explain what it is, but even so, like that's still one of the most unsettling parts about this game. Don't make me bap you? I'll bap you first, and then I'll scrunch your muzzle. The metal frame of the van seems to rattle in response, though that just might be my imagination. Sometimes I go into the hills and just camp out away from home, because the hum wasn't as bad there. Heather did it a bunch with me though she had her other reasons. Hey manga, welcome on back. We just found the van that we dreamt of, and right now we are currently experiencing the hum, which I'm starting to get a bit freaked out by. Jenna nods, exhaling slowly before crossing her arms over her chest. So I suppose you have a theory about all of this? One based in what? MISTRESS spiritualism? Honestly, I thought it was like radon poisoning or something, but you get the hum in a few other places around town too. I've slept all over. The rail yard, the lake, this van, they're all real hummy. Oh, the rail yard? Cause the rail yard was where that guy got his arms or his legs cut off by the train. The lake is where we drowned Sydney, and then the van was also like the van was the incident where they ran that albino guy over. So there's like three catalysts in this town that's making everyone go crazy. Oh my god, that makes so much sense now. These three places in Echo is the reason why this town is going fucking insane. Wow. Like it all makes sense now. You slept in this van before? Despite everything that's happened, the idea that anyone would want to take a nap in this creepy thing is dubious at best for Jenna. Well, Micah trails off. For one usually so coarse and brazen, his seemingly awkwardness right now feels out of place for him. We both have, briefly. Leo places the flat of his palm on the bed of the cab. Flattened cardboard boxes and ratty bits of fabric that must have once been blankets or towels cover the surface. The large canine's brow furrows some, and he finally looks back up at all of us. It may just be me, but he doesn't seem as sluggish anymore. Jenna lets out an exhausted, amused noise, letting her arms flop down to her sides. Truly? I'm not sure I see the appeal. Leo and Micah look at each other. There's a silence. Wait. Hold on. You're not saying... I was so stupid. We were both stupid. Micah squeezes the bridge of his nose, closing his eyes as if he would cringe. Oh, so they slept together. I was such a skeevy little bitch back then. I don't know why I pushed. No, I didn't mean for that. Oh! You had it rough and I didn't care. If I did, I didn't want to because of what happened at the party. I feel like an outsider. So wait, did these two date beforehand? And that's why they've been so awkward around each other? I feel like an outsider looking at some intimate conversation I don't understand. I don't know. I would probably pass on the van. Which is a feeling I can't say when when I'm around Leo. He'd always go out of his way to include me in everything. What party? What are you guys talking about? Chase, 2008. That Dia de los Muertos party at Parsons' warehouse. The one where you told me you were gay, the night we got together. I blink. My parents had caught me watching game porn that morning on the computer, and I was afraid to come home to them, so I went to the party at Parsons. The night itself was kind of a blur. I remember getting into a very brief fight with the guy who dumped beer on TJ, and then waking up with Leo over me, eyes full of concern. Nothing but bad, but yeah, I could definitely see why. Somehow I ended up confiding everything to him about me being into guys. He apparently had a hunch about it, and the next thing I knew, he was ushering me out of the old warehouse to walk home with them. We kissed in the rail yard by his house, and that was about the start of our relation. Oh no, because like, these are the events with Chase and Leo. Because we first go into the van, and then we go to that party, and then we go... Oh my god, that's actually crazy. Still, something about... always seemed a bit off about that party and the way Leo was acting. I think I remember some dude trying to come up to talk to him, and Leo was telling him off before insisting that I not ask about it. He seemed really serious at the time. Didn't want to ruin a good thing or something like that. I didn't get a good look at the guy he talked to, but he was carrying a camera? The wolf taps the side of the tripod with his fingertips. Leo, you are reprehensible. Jenna's voice is cold and curt. Jenna? What? Shut up. Jenna looks taken aback, but only for a split second before shaking her head in disbelief. Leo winces, clutching his wounded head. His reddish eyes flick up to meet mine. I shouldn't have agreed to it. It was just... Jenna quickly interjects, stepping in front of me. No, Leo, this whole week has just proven to me time and time again that you're just... She stares, letting out a hot puff of air between her lips before spreading her arms wide. Just perfect for Echo. You truly, truly belong here, you know that? God, how old were you then? How old was Micah? Do you even care? Fucking hell, are you about done? The bat pivots on his heel away from the van to face Jenna, his eyebrows narrow beneath... Oh! I think I know why that she's been, like, so angry with people, because we encouraged her in that one decision. That's why she's been, like, so honest and open. Look, you don't know me. I ain't some fucking victim. Shit was my choice. What was your choice? Chase, you are an absolute idiot sometimes. Jenna sounds very disgusted. I frown at her, wondering what the fuck I did wrong. And I abandoned you. Jenna visibly seethes. None of this? She points to the rusty van, that same red light flashing on and off. Makes any sense, but all your actions completely do. You're all just so perfect for this town, thinking any of this was okay. She throws up her hands. Her legs are shaking with her frustration. Is she including me in this? It isn't. I'm gone. Done. Jenna! She turns to leave, though crackling from the front of the van brings her to a halt. Hey. From the console to the distorted voice I'd become multi-familiar with. Oh shit, it's back! Can I pull you in your tongue? No! This is my blep. It's coming from the old radio, the audio crackling through its dusty speakers. Jenna recognizes it instantly and she begins stepping back away from the van again. We should go. Now. Her voice is shaky. The air itself seems fuzzy and electric, like I'm breathing in hundreds of tiny strands of vibrating twine. That sounded like Chase. Hi. Leo's the only one to outright respond back, and Micah looks at him with a bewildered expression. Don't talk to the hum. It's Chase. Chase is right there, dipshit! He gestures to me, still standing gobstop at the back of the van. Leo slowly looks back at me, squinting at my chin and my eyes. It's me. Let's go home. He sees that it isn't my mouth moving, and his eyes widen a little more. A small line of blood runs down from the spot just behind his ear to his jaw. I promise I won't bring it up again. Let's go home. Who gives a fuck what the others say? You know I'm right. I remember saying those exact words after Flynn blasted us for skipping Jenna's birthday party on the 10th grade. I'd convinced Leo to hang out with me instead. I was just addicted to private time with him. I promise I won't bring it up again. We're all silent, staring at the dark cab where the noise is coming from. Except for Leo, and he's looking directly at me. Leave. Why? He asks me. I'm not sure what to say. It's not me speaking, but those are my words. Everything feels hazy. It's hazy and wet. Micah leans his head into the van, trying to get the wolf's attention. Leo, Keith always said not to talk to the hum. That's what the shit is, no doubt. The hysteria. It has a voice? Apparently it's your fucking voice, Chase. No wonder everyone's so damn riled up about you coming back. But why me? Do I look like some kind of Masetta wise man? Micah grunts, fidgeting from foot to foot. Despite his demeanor, he's definitely visibly unnerved by all this. I want to cry. Oh, no. Don't cry, buddy. I got you. I'm parodying the shit I heard from a guy who's probably dead. For a while when I was younger, I thought I heard Keith's voice too, telling me the shit I wanted to hear, but that shit wasn't good for me. So I got the fuck out of town. Jenna throws her hands up, squeezing the pendant on her necklace. I can't handle this. I'm going to do what the spooky van wants and leave. It's not the van. A voice in my head speaks, softly like a whisper from right behind my ear. It's a masculine voice, but not my own. It's an older man with a... Oh, That's probably the guy that we ran over. It's familiar. Glancing back, there's no one there. Oh, that's fair, buddy. Well, I hope that this stream can help brighten your spirits up a little. Without speaking, I think. It's not the van. And how do you know that? I don't know. I admit. There's a long silence and Leo's tail curls inward. He's biting the inside of his cheek, thinking hard. Finally, he looks me in the eyes again. It's me. That thing. It follows me. I thought it was you, but it's not you. You're different now. He gesticulates in my direction. Leo, please, be quiet for a second, eh? Leo interrupts the otherworldly voice like he's shushing a small child. Now he's looking at me, but his gaze seems to shift toward the horizon. 1,000-yard stare. But it's my blep. You can't pull on my blep. My blep is mine. Chase, you all left and it was never the same. So I tried to cope. I remember all the stuff you used to say to me. Even the naggy shit, all your banter. Hell, I imagine every day at work that you're still there with me, talking to me while I'm fixing cars. I pretend I'm teaching you about the basics, like changing oil or replacing headlights. I know it's not... Ooh, excuse me. I know it's not riveting stuff, but in my head, you love me and I love you. There's just some distance, that's all. Then I drive home listening to whatever's on the radio and imagine you reacting to it. Groaning every time the word truck is mentioned in a country song or making some snide-ass remark about the political ads. A little smile curves up along his jowls, though it diminishes as quick as it forms. The little drop of blood running down the fur of his cheek finally splatters on the cab floor beneath him. I get home, I go online, and there's just this pulling in my chest, like a dread, you know? I click on the social media shit, and it's you. The real you. And you're different. You're wearing new shirts, hanging with new friends, drinking fancy college beers, growing terrible facial hair. I touch my goatee briefly. Mike gives me a sidelong glance. And it feels like I'm losing you all over again, so I just avoid it. I pretend. I pretend that we still drink together on the patio as the sun goes down on Saturdays. I pretend that you're here beside me at home watching me play my games. And I pretend at night that pillow that I've got in my arms wrapped around is you, making little noises you do when I ruffle your head for or squeeze you. Leo plants his rump against the side of the cabin, sliding down to a sitting position as he clutches his head. And then one day, you started talking back. At first it was quiet, in the back of my head, not even really noticeable. And over time it just got more real, yeah? Soon I was looking in mirrors and seeing you standing there, a reflection in a window or a pool of water. Sometimes I swear you could even touch me, but it wasn't you, not the real you. It was the you I wanted you to be. This perfect, subservient thing. But it didn't make me happier. It was just a dream that kept blurring between what was real and what isn't. And so I wanted to see you, the real you, to, I don't know, get a grip, fix me, but it just made things worse when you didn't give a shit. When I would smile and you would look away, you just take every chance to hang with others instead of me. His eyes flicked briefly toward Jenna before trailing back down to the space between his feet. The wolf was breathing slowly. These past few days, it's been unlike anything I've ever felt before. I forget what's real and what wasn't, and it all drove me up the walls, you know? So, sorry, He just rubs his face. Fuck. The wolf goes still, and the gravity of his words rendering everyone silent. Even the radio. Jenna, who seems to be constantly wavering between lingering and noping the fuck out of here, glances back over her shoulder. Her grievances with Leo and Mike are apparently lessened in the face of continued paranormal onslaught. So this thing that we're seeing is manifested by the hum. Is it some sort of tulpa? A tulpa? The name sounds familiar, like something Carl mentioned to me in passing. In layman, a more advanced version of an imaginary friend. The Fennec frowns deeply, thinking. The process of induction, visualization, thought form, and other mental forcing can simulate these sorts of psychosomatic happenings. Generally, you see it with people who say they talk to Jesus or other religious icons that encourage prayer and meditation upon idols. You're saying I'm like some kind of worshipped idol? Jenna sighs as Leo slinks down a little. Sure. That still doesn't explain why we can see and hear this thing. Honestly, it's more likely we're enduring some sort of collective traumatic hallucination. Ooh. Mr. Streamer, welcome on in. I am not a cutie, but welcome on in, friend. The Blap welcomes you. How's it going? Right now, I'm just spitballing here to rationalize this. She swirls her paw in the direction of the van. A person that others can see and interact with, born from a dream. We watch the radio, though it doesn't chime in. I think it's gone. Another silence. Finally, Micah speaks up. Jesus fuck, Leo. Can't you just print out Chase's yearbook picture and tape it to a fleshlight like a normal person? Leo looks to Micah, his tired, wounded face slipping into a grin before he starts to chuckle. It's the first bit of proper laughter I've heard from him in days, even if it is bittersweet. Yeah, Micah's a cool guy. I like him. I like him as a character. Micah, I'm sorry. Dude, for real, it's fine. Micah watches Leo with some wariness in his golden eyes, crossing his tattooed arms over his chest. Why so much reading? This is a visual novel. A very, very long one. It took 5 years to develop, so there's a lot of dialogue. Nah. Huh? What do you mean, nah? Nah. We may have just been messing around, but you had shit rough at home. Everyone knew it. How? Once again, 5 years of development. Lots of changes happened, and then eventually in 2021 it got finished. It was released, and then the one that we're playing right now is a revised version that has a couple of more CG art and some typo fixes. Definitely check out the Echo by the Echo Project if you haven't already. Haha, yeah. Doki Doki Literature Club was like my first interaction to psychological horror novels. My buddy Rocky recommended this to me after, and I've just been absolutely loving it. Like, let me say right here real quick. Like, the first time we actually played this was June 17th, I think. Or this was our first save. June 17th, like 2021, I want to say. So we've been here for quite a bit. I just didn't want to think about it, yeah? You just disappeared one day and that was that. But you were small, didn't have nobody to turn to. I should have been there for you. Micah scuffs his foot against the dirt, looking at a mixture of frazzled and embarrassed at the conversation taking place. Yeah, Doki Doki is just an absolute treasure of a game. I love it. Arches, I think Arches could be fun to play on stream as well. That could be a fun game, because it takes place after Echo. We didn't have that kind of relationship, not like you and Chase had. Relationship? The bat looks at me, quickly clarifying. It wasn't really a relationship or nothing. That was just a bad word to use. Just two kids who both knew they liked dudes and experimenting. There's a twisting sensation on my chest as I look at both of them, then imagining them in the van. Right before what was essentially the most romantic night of my life, the day I felt most loved and special out of any. With the $700 camera and 3-year age difference. Micah ignores Jenna. Judging by your expression, I'm guessing he never told you. I don't blame him. Leo scoots himself to the back of the van, hanging his legs off the end as he looks to me. And I should have. I just didn't want to lose you, you know? He's looking at me now. And yet he lost you anyway. Oh. It's all I can manage to say. Leo turns his attention back to Micah. I'm no replacement for Keith, but I should have helped you get back on your feet. Introduced you to the group. Dios, you and Chase would have gotten along after a while. Didn't you want to be a journalism major? Jenna, despite the apologetic tone of Leo, definitely doesn't seem eager to stick around for this conversation. Man, that was a lifetime ago. Could have taken your feral ass in, shown you how society works. Come on, you probably don't even know how to do your taxes. Micah clicks his tongue against the roof of his mouth, kind of like how Leo does. Ah, fuck taxes. Government ain't getting shit. Anyway, he clears his still raspy throat, wincing as he swallows. If you want to get ahead in life, you can't rely on others. Gotta get it for yourself. He passes a glance toward Jenna for a moment. We did. I chime in, still trying to wrap my head around that revelation from earlier. Micah looks like he's about to snap back into something with something biting, but just waves it off with a flop of his hand. Anyway, if you wanted forgiveness, you got it. Let's just put some distance between us at this hot spot, Kay? Please. Micah grunts once, beginning to walk off behind Jenna. After a moment, he slows to some, looking back to Leo. Glad you finally woke up, though. Jenna rubs her face into the pads of her paws. She's shaken, nerves are frazzled. Micah and Leo too. Though I just feel numb. All this insane shit is happening around me and it's like a dream. Something not even real. There's a layer of separation between what I perceive and what's really occurring in front of me. Watching a playback of memories projected right onto my own eyes. It's not the first time I felt like this, even outside of the supposed hysteria, but it's never been so strong. But as I glance behind me, the van is still there. Real as ever. Mike and the newly sobered Leo walk on ahead. Maybe it's like a minefield, you know? Projecting thoughts and shit for everyone to see. Yeah, just think real hard about Carl. We can take his spooky fucking doppel home with us instead. Save us some trouble. After a while, I can't make out what they're saying. They're talking with a more serious tone. Their voices are lowered. I'm not sure if I even want to know what they're discussing now. As we approach the edge of the old highway, my eyes settle upon a small mound of dirt with a carefully placed stone in the center. I've walked down the stretch of Route 65 about a dozen times growing up, and have even seen this before, but it was never curious enough to investigate. There's something about it that's drawing my attention, and I realize why. The dream from last night. The grave. Oh shit, that's the spot. I stop, and the others are still walking ahead. They're following the road now back to town, or at least until we get to the railroad crossing, and then we can follow that. I look back to the mound of dirt, and I'm compelled to approach it. Without really thinking, I'm on my knees. I don't like it. I don't like it. God, are we gonna see like a fucking mummified cat there now? What? What? Oh my god, just do it. Ew! Oh my god. Oh my god, why? Next thing I know, I'm scooping up the tips of my paws through the packed soil, digging up dirt and tossing the clumps aside. I don't know why I'm doing this. I close my eyes, trying to snap out of it. It doesn't help, and soon there's this musty smell in the air, like the inside of an old attic. I managed to dig about a foot down into the earth so far, and the smell is only growing stronger. About 2 feet down, something solid touches my fingertips. I keep going, dusting up the dirt, whatever it is. The surface is covered and cracked in places like pottery. Even before I get all the dirt off, I have a hunch of what it is. 2 empty sockets stare up at me, and I stare back. Hello. A voice plays in my head, much more profound than I've ever heard it before. Uh, after all this time, to end up here. The voice almost sounds like it sighs, then goes silent. Are, are you the guy in the grave? I ask the voice, which rings more clearly with each passing word. The way he sounds, it's like he's right here, despite the unnatural cadence. The voice in my head? I whisper to the skull, compelled to touch it. Any skin or fur has long since rotten away, and the head itself is a yellowed ivory color. His clothes, from what are visible, are in tatters, but the remnants of a button-up shirt and suspenders can still be seen. The voice doesn't respond, so I ask another question. Who are you? A tumbleweed... Wait, but the others are going to be separated. Shouldn't they know that Chase is not behind them now? A tumbleweed rolls by along the road in front of me, the others getting further and further away. Instead of responding, I feel myself begin to dig further down, scooping out a few more mounds of dirt until something leather and small can be seen. A hardly little wallet with the snake emblem pressed into the center. Flipping it open, several business cards and dollar bills practically dissolve into the exposed air, though there's a plastic ID card in the back. It's a driver's license, clearly decades old with the faded ink of several stamps covering most of it. What text can be seen is that old-timey typewriter font. I wiped my thumb across the surface, wiping away the dirt and grime. Samuel Ayers, date of birth 1890. It's a little picture of an elderly pale feline with stark reddish-looking eyes that remind me slightly of Leo's. I am not cute, Phoenix. Welcome on in. The bluff welcomes you. He looks haggard and sad, ancient really, a relic of another time. The man from my dreams. I should be terrified, but again I still feel disconnected. Wait, the feline guy's who we play as in the smoke room? A passive viewer who can only sometimes speak without any control. Now you know how I feel. I managed to... Oh my god, that's actually fucking crazy. So in the smoke room, canonically, this guy is already dead. Because then it goes to Echo. God, this is insane! I managed to swallow, peering into those sockets like they were looking right back at me. I've never met a ghost before, I remarked quietly. Not a ghost. Then what are you? Another drawn-out silence, though this time I waited out. Maybe something like that thing on the radio in the van. Just older and changed now. It's gone, but I'm still here. Clinging to you like a lifeboat in open water. We've been together for some time. Didn't see one another for a while, but you came back. They always come back. Together? I trail off, trying to wrap my head around what he means and what's really happening. I lean back some, feeling less resistance on my movements. I feel weird, like I'm not really here. You felt this way for a while now. It always happens like this over time. Here, it's just a little stronger. With me. We need to burn this motherfucker in the ground right now. There's nothing good that's gonna come out of this. My gaze is pulled down to the license in my grip. Again I read the name, Samuel Ayers. He goes quiet for a moment, then speaks up again. With him. His voice falters, a strange conveyance of emotion in his otherwise stilted, monotone presentation. I speak up again. There's something wrong with me. It's like I'm not doing things on my own anymore. You're not. I'm with you. You are indecisive by nature. What? How? I choose. That doesn't make any sense. Why are we connected? How do I make this all go away? He says nothing, but I can hear him rumbling, stirring. At least 15 seconds pass before said stirring returns into words. You came back to find the truth, or that's what you told yourself. Yet you've known it all along. You just bury it, over and over again. Each failing, uncomfortable moment, or horror. You can't face anything. You're just like him. The man with the hat that's always too tight. Brain splattered on fresh grass, pine needles, and a whimpering child. I don't... You are weak. You are pathetic. There's a pause, and again his tone shifts, a deviation from his uniform speaking pattern. His voice sounds softer, distant, like an echo of something said farther away. Be safe, kid. Before I have time to comprehend anything, I hear footsteps upon the asphalt in front of me. Chase, what are you still doing back here? What are you looking at? Jenna steps close, peering into the little hole I had dug. She thins her lips. Oh, what's going on? Leo's booming voice calls out from down the highway, the wolf looking back at us. Jenna just stares at the desiccated remains for a moment before calling back. Chase dug up an old corpse. God damn it, Chase! Jenna sighs, resting her paws on her knees and letting her head hang down. What he said. You know, any sane person would say that too. Any sane person would just look at that and just say, oh, yeah, we have a little bit of a problem here. This guy somehow managed to dig up an old corpse by sheer dumb luck. She looks up for a moment, after a moment, spying the card in my hand. Is that an ID? Yeah, Samuel Ayers is the name. I think he's the one who got hit by the van. Oh. She looks off to the side. Great. Huh? What, Chase? She responds, exasperated. Don't you care? Someone died here. I think he matters somehow. To me. Chase, we have almost died tonight. And we are still in a very unpredictable and dangerous situation. She crouches down beside me, with mental states that can be charitably described as less than optimal. Carl is in serious trouble, and we know where he is. This, right here? She taps the ID card in my paw. We can make a little note of it in our heads and bring it to the proper authorities later. She barely glances at the license, standing back up and offering me a hand. Come on, Chase. With a knot in my stomach, I take her hand and use her weight to rise up without putting too much strain on my injured leg. But I think this guy's in my head. Please don't say that. She responds curtly as Micah arrives behind her, Leo hobbling at his side. You okay, Otter? I look at him for a long moment and answer honestly. I don't know. Same. Let's just get going, okay? Chase, you can keep leaning on me if it hurts to walk. I give her a grateful nod as I rest an arm on her shoulder. Thanks. As we head off, Micah lingers a little behind us, staring into the shallow grave. He steps off the road, pushing the dirt I'd removed back into the hole with a few hasty swipes of his foot. Before anyone can ask what he's doing, he catches back up with us, staring straight ahead. We've been walking for what feels like ages. The moon's still high in the sky and the taste of water in the air. Maybe it'll rain. After we got switched around and ended up on the wrong side of the highway, we realized we were much closer to Heather's than the motel. So to Tetanus Alley we go. I keep playing back that conversation earlier in my head, the voice that seemingly activated when I found the skeleton. I heard it 1,000 times before, but I always had assumed it was me, my subconsciousness. A particularly bitter side of myself that would chime in every now and then to add insult to the injury. Really, lives out in the boonies, doesn't she? Leo winces some as he walks, no longer using Micah as a walking crutch. Yeah, I don't get out here often. Be wary though. Apparently she's got a gun, so no threatening movements or nothing if we see her. Clint's got one too. Should have swung back around to my place so I could grab my piece. Leo, for God's sake, we are not getting into a firefight tonight. Bet my aim's better than two junkies with pop guns. Oh yes, the heavily concussed Hobble Wolf definitely has the advantage over Clint and Heather, both of which spend a considerable portion of their free time shooting random objects in a trailer park. I know, because I grew up listening to it. She ain't lying, at least for Clint, and he ain't no fan of you. Should probably let me do the talking. Didn't you betray them? I think I might be the better person for this. The neutral party, so to speak. Yeah, but I know them. I can sort this shit out quick, like... Oh, what do we go for here? Oh, geez, this could go either way. What do we do, chat? Do we trust Jenna or do we trust Micah with this? Because, again, this could potentially change how our entire story goes. Oh, geez, yeah, Micah could probably do it, but most likely he'll be shot on sight. And then, I mean, Jenna could probably do it, but with her temper, oh man, uh, you know what? We're gonna have to maybe, maybe they both go the same way. Who knows? But um, on Jenna's route or for the other route that is seemingly different from this, we'll go to Maiko for that. Let's go to Jenna for this one. Look, Jeremy's her brother, and Clint is Jeremy's best friend, and presumably Heather listens to both of them. She's not really been involved in any of the drama so far, so I trust her to get this taken care of. I look down at Jenna, who I'm currently leaning against. She can put her degree to work. Oh god, don't put it like that. For the last time, I don't study any of that interpersonal communication business that shrinks handle. I lean more towards neuroscience anyway. So Rich Goat is in great hands then. Nice. Micah responds tersely, Jenna giving him quite the side-eye. She still seems pretty disgusted with him and Leo for the van revelations, and the further we get away from it, I'm starting to feel myself gonna get more and more ill at the thought. Camera, Jesus. Leo had asked if we ever wanted to film anything before we were together, but I always said no. I shut my eyes, trying to not think about it. Focus. Just gotta find Carl. A long curvy gravel road that leads up halfway to the quarter-mile loop that is Jasmine Street. At this section, several mobile homes are dotted along its length, though most are empty and dilapidated. They generally serve as squatting grounds for seasonal transitions. A little pink house stands out amongst the rest, with a big utility vehicle parked out front. It's Stinky Pubbinson? No, it's Dexter Stimkey. Welcome on in, Stimkey. The blood welcomes you. Before I should not be allowed to make choices. I feel death coming now. Listen, I know that my deaths in Minecraft have proven that I can't be trusted with choices, but I think we might have the better option here. Also, I think I'm gonna do Minecraft again next stream because I've been like I said this last time. I have been like playing the game like nonstop, like fucking crazy off stream, and there's just so much that I want to show you guys. Because by popular request, yes, I did fix the house. So that's also something that I want to showcase to you guys the next time we stream it. Can you imagine being my SMP? Oh boy. I would have to deal with your stink, Dex. Never actually been inside before. We should be careful. The front door is open. What? Jenna points, and sure enough, the double doors leading into the house are cracked open. The doors themselves are largely ornate, painted like a drawbridge with big knockers on both sides. I don't kill you till you settle your first town. I don't know. That seems kind of stinky of you. You did some stinky thing regardless. A creeping sense of dread begins to dawn upon me. Hunker down. Let's get ready. Minecraft addiction, I'm loving it. Oh, thank you. We'll definitely have to do a lot more of it, because I feel bad that you guys didn't get to really see everything I did. So, we'll definitely have to do more. And so we do. Well, as much as I'm willing to do with my leg still feeling like it's on fire. I can even see Leo's wincing as he crouches down in front of some shrubbery. You guys all good for this? Yeah, it's just like I got bit by 20 fire ants. There's probably something we can wrap your legs up with inside. The tips of your fingers, Batty. Batty? Said Bat gives Leo an incredulous look before letting out a little harumph and facing forward again. I squint past the two of them through the brush, and I can make out the text and logo on the utility vehicle. It says the Reclamation Bureau with a little river insignia surrounded by the national flag. Ooh. Cool, Wolf. Thank you so much for the follow. Bark. Boom, boom, boom. How's it going, buddy? The blood welcomes you. Hope you're doing well. Jenna squats down beside me, her ears twitching. She quickly peers over her shoulder, staring hard at something behind us. I follow her gaze, though all I see is the vast stretch of desert between us and Lake Emma. Micah looks too, letting out a little gasp. Who the fuck? What? I don't see anything. Shh! Jenna places her paws up to my lips. I frown, peering past her fingers in the dark. Finally, I can hear something. Twig snapping. Quick footsteps and maybe some panting? There's a rumbling behind it too that sounds almost mechanical in nature. My first thought is the van from earlier. Whoever turned it on, have they got it running and followed us out here? The silhouette of a figure emerges through the sagebrush. Its motions are frantic. Eventually I can see its eyes, which are familiar bright blue. Whoa! Tej! Leo quickly runs up to catch the flailing feline, only to be met with slashing claws that push him away. The wolf sees audibly, stepping back. TJ, stop! It's us! He whispers sternly, trying to snap him out of whatever's come over him. TJ keeps looking over his shoulder and is panicked. It's coming! It won't stop following me! TJ shouts and Micah visibly flinches. Kid, shut the fuck up! He's hysterical. Yeah, so hit him or something. Leo blinks, frowning deeply as he tries to wrangle the cat by the scruff of his neck with little success. What? I'm not going to punch TJ. Oh, so you get beat up by my friends and it's totally fine? Micah's grumbling trails off into a disgruntled mumble as TJ yowls. He keeps trying to scramble away, kicking up clouds of dust everywhere. The cat looks horrible. Go-ahead brambles stuck in his fur, and tumbleweed sticks in his shirt. His pants are ripped at the seams. It looks like he's been out running in the wild for a while. Jenna squeezes my shoulder some before moving from my side, approaching the increasingly feral-looking lynx. TJ, it's me. It's Jenna. She speaks softly in a calming tone to her voice. I'm here with Leo, Chase, and our new friend Micah. You're okay. The rumbling sound is getting closer. Soon I can see headlights gleaming across the desert. It's a pickup truck, and it's not even on the roads. The driver is just careening through the desert straight towards us. TJ's eyes bulge, his head swiveling towards the sound as even Leo wrestles him to his knees. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no! It's a thing! It's the thing from... He breathes in sharply, looking at me for a moment. It's the monster! The monster? Jenna repeats, peering at the approaching truck. Fuck, is that Jeremy and Clint? No. She lets out a relieved sigh. I recognize that busted grill. The vehicle begins to slow until it rolls to an idle and parks about 10 meters from where we're squatting. A tower... Oh, wait! Yes! Holy shit, Flynn, we are so... Oh my god. Aren't we glad to see you? Oh, fucking hell. Flynn blinks at us all, then shifts his attention back to TJ. The lynx is staring at him as if he's just the horror of all horrors. His jaw agape in silent scream as he writhes in Leo's grasp. Flynn! Jenna growls. I guess we're all just hollering now. Micah briefly glances over his shoulder toward the house. There's no movement inside. What did you do? What did I do? I sure as shit would like to know. One minute we're searching for Carl, the next he's just staring at me with that crazed look in his eyes. He started crying, snotting all over the place. Been chasing this little shit for fuck knows how long. Well, this whole town has fallen apart. Lost him for a bit, so I went home and grabbed my repeater. Flynn holds up his rifle, and I can see it's pretty damn old-timey looking. With the sort you see in old westerns, with that metal that looks more brassy than iron. He shifts his gaze from TJ to the rest of us and frowns. The fuck you guys been up to? No one immediately speaks. To be fair, I'm not quite sure how to answer either. It would take hours to summarize everything that's happened since Flynn and TJ were around. Surviving. I rubbed the back of my neck. But we found Carl. You did? Flynn perks right up, the visible exhaustion he'd worn like a second skin seeming to dissolve right off him. Where is he? I swallowed, realizing how dry my throat is as I try to make the right words. Duke and my brother have him. Jenna interjects. We were briefly and unwillfully detained at Brian's. Carl was there, but Jeremy and Duke were told to take him to Heather's place. Hence, she gestures towards the pink house. Why we are here. You're fucking shitting me. We are not. Flynn is speechless, bringing his fingers to his forehead and gritting his teeth. This is so fucking nuts. He brandishes his repeater across his chest, pulling back the lever and checking the chamber with an increasingly look of trepidation on his face. Let's not waste any more time then. He slams the lever back into place, stepping forward. TJ flinches, though the lynx looks less terrified and more confused now. Whoa there, Mayor's boy. Jeremy and Duke might be packing, and we know for sure Heather is. So slow your roll, yeah? Hearing this information, it looks like roll slowing is the exact opposite of what Flynn wants to do, but he does stop. Glancing back, he seems like he's about to snap at Leo, but spots his bloody leg and the swelling around his muzzle and forehead. His expression softens. Guys? Our attention shifts to the lynx cradled in Leo's arms, who's peering at us through bloodshot eyes. Tej? Leo loosens his grip on him, and the lynx props himself up to one knee, taking stock of his surroundings as if for the first time. Hello? Jenna exchanges a look with the rest of us before speaking. Welcome back to reality. Ah, that hum's nasty stuff, ain't it, kid? Hum? He clutches his ears. I don't know what you're talking about. Leo snaps his fingers a few times in front of the TJ's face before waving his paw in front of him. TJ stares, flinching with a delayed reaction. Not too sure he's fully back with us just yet. Flynn swipes his hand through the air, grimacing. Okay, enough of this. Wolf Boy, what's the plan? I blink, realizing how naturally everyone defers to Leo when the going gets rough. Just like when we were kids. I don't see Jeremy or Dukes right out front, so I assume they aren't here. We should take a look around inside, but we need to be careful. They could be back any minute. Yeah. We all begin to follow in line behind Leo. All of us are pretty damn well aware of our element of surprise is long gone. We're about to reach open the door when I notice that Jenna isn't with us. I glance back over my shoulder and see her staring into the underbrush back by the truck. Everyone else starts filing in before I get a chance to get anyone's attention, so I wait outside for her. I wave, trying to get her attention. Sure enough, she finally looks my way and quickly scurries her way over to me. It's amazing how silent she can be, even while running. It's one of those enviable fox traits she has. It's tough to think any aspect of foxes that's a hindrance, actually. What's up? I look at her, trying to keep my voice down. She peers at me with a scrutinizing expression, as if I had said something rather offensive and she's waiting for me to talk my way out of it. Jenna? Oh, it's nothing. Nothing real. Huh? She walks in, not offering any elaboration. Come on. Did she see the thing again? Is that why she held back? 'Cause she said nothing real. I sigh, following her. Jenna, I can't say I could have ever expected the interior of Heather's home to look like this, even having known her most of my life. The first thing that hits me is the smell. It reminds me of one of those fancy candle and soap stores in the mall, but with the sort of dusty, mildewy stank that lingers inside my sinuses. It's very floral overall. Potpourri, I think it's called? The next thing I notice is the decor. Much like the exterior, there definitely appears to be some kind of fantasy castle-like theming going on here. However, the person going for said theme is certainly no interior designer. Bubbly wallpaper, cheap knickknacks, blurry printed JPEG pictures of fairy tale characters coat the walls. Pink pennant banners dangle from the ceiling, and crushed glitter can be seen reflecting from within the weaving of the carpet. It's like a child's birthday party took place here, but judging from the faded appearance, it's been like this for a while. As I glance to my left, I notice an entire wall has been knocked down, the structural framing inadequately hidden by the flower-coated curtains. Beyond said curtains is a large chair, and a long red rug leading up to it. It takes me a moment to realize it's supposed to be some kind of throne, lit harshly by the bright white fluorescent lights. Ugh, that was a tongue twister there. Despite the attempted fanciful presentation, cluttered floors hinder whatever the intended effect of the opulence they were trying to go for. I can see old VHS tapes, candy wrappers, CRT monitors, disposable cameras, children's toys, all scattered about. Past the throne is what I think was supposed to be the living room. But instead of chairs, there's just this mattress on the floor, which is covered in throw pillows and beach blankets. I even recognize one as having the logo of the Southwest Adventures. Seeing that now makes me realize how long ago it feels like all of us were at that theme park, carefree for the most part. Flynn steps up to the knocked-down wall, with Peter clutched under one arm. Guessing they didn't get a permit for this demo. As if on cue, a gust of rolling wind hits the house. I can practically feel it shudder. Unstable. The Gila quickly refocuses, keeping his slitted gaze pointed down the hall for any sudden movement. Beyond that, the house is quiet for the most part, outside of the occasional dripping noise coming from somewhere I can't see. Nuts. Completely nuts. Leo mutters, shaking his head at his surroundings. Yeah, none of us come here. Never actually been inside before. Heather's dad never lets anyone in. Now we can see why. Leo and I and the rest begin moving down the hall while Jenna steps up beside me. She has a contemplative frown upon her muzzle. It's kind of weird and familiar in a way. That's all I can say initially until I begin to start placing why. This place reminds me of like old thrift stores and cheesy parties I went to as a kid. I can't imagine living here. Hmm. It's not as dirty as I thought it would be. Jenna muses, though something catches her eye in the entranceway to the kitchen. Soon I'm following her, approaching what looks like a laminated colored pencil drawing posted on the wall with rainbow-colored text. King and Princess Palace. Jenna's frown deepens. On the picture, there's a large, bespectacled feline man sitting on a grand golden throne. It's quite an upgrade from the dingy orange recliner draped in cut-up fabrics that they got up front, that's for sure. Next to him, sitting cross-legged, is what looks like a drawing of Heather. She's in a stereotypical pink princess gown with a little tiara on her head. The two are holding hands. It's such a sentimental picture, and it actually seems pretty sweet that even Heather has someone who cares about her enough as this. However, Jenna's dour expression does not relent. She quickly turns, heading down the hall with the rest of the gang. Flynn and Leo continue to take point, the guy keeping his rifle at the ready. Still no signs of anyone, though. Part of me wonders how wise it is to be carrying a gun with all this mind-altering hysteria business going on. Flynn turning on any of us is pretty unfathomable. The lizard having always been an all bark and no bite. Still, seeing one of my old friends with the brandishing a weapon, it's a weird feeling. I pop in one of the rooms along the main hall that still has the lights on. It looks like some kind of study, and it's much less cluttered than the rest of the house. There's a small desk beside the door with a laptop and a stack of papers next to it, most of them with Reclamation Bureau letterhead. At a glance, the documents mention things like water tables, hydrology reports, and map revisions for floodplain boundaries. It all sounds pretty heady stuff. It's odd that Heather's dad lives in such a shitty place despite having such a technical-sounding job. TJ wanders in beside me, staring blearily into the empty room. I reach over, placing a paw on the Lynx's shoulder. He flinches a little, but doesn't draw back. You feeling better, Tej? I ask, keeping my voice soft for his sake. Yeah. TJ responds, rubbing his arms. His fur looks puffier than usual, most likely the result of him being so on edge. I know we're looking for Carl, but I hope Heather's okay too. I withdraw my paw, giving him a sidelong look as I check behind the few pieces of furniture that were in here. Oh? I didn't figure you two were that close. At least not anymore. You don't have to be close to someone to be worried about them. I'm not about to argue with TJ on this one, but the way he speaks makes it sound more like he's reciting something than speaking from the heart. I step back out into the main area. Down the hall I hear the clatter of falling boxes, followed by a hushed swear from Flynn. Watch your step. Get off my ass. My adrenaline buzz is wearing off. You can relax. It doesn't look like anyone's here. What? That doesn't mean you can fucking relax. It means that Carl's still out there with those crackhead fuck faces. I'm sure when he's dead, you relax plenty. Flynn. I can hear the lizard spit, cutting him off. Psh, fuck you too, Leo. Jenna sighs loudly, interjecting. Flynn, you know I didn't mean it that way. The bickering continues as I realize there's still a room at the back end of the hall with the lights off. I make my way over, stepping into the doorway and peering into the blackness as I fumble around for the light switch. Ooh. It's a stinky Fulfin chat. Welcome on in. The bluff welcomes you. How's it going? I find myself shielding my eyes from the glare of the unshaded light hanging from above. For a moment, I thought I saw something move in the corner, though it must have just been the glare. The room kind of reminds me of the foyer, a cluttered mess with exposed drywall and electrical wiring and damp spots all over the ceiling. There's a window to my right, and I think I could see Duke's truck park outside. Duke mentioned something about Heather taking it while we were locked up with Brian. At first I think it's some sort of storage room, but then I noticed the pink couch in the corner with a blanket, pillow, and alarm clock. Their dirty clothes piled up beside it, and it's judging from all the bras and panties, this must be where Heather sleeps. There's even a little closet in the corner with crayon children's drawings posted all over the door. I take a step in, though I stop when something catches my eye. The right-hand corner of the room where I thought I saw something move earlier, a little green light blinks in the shadows. As I approach, I notice something. A pastel pink baby monitor thing with a photograph taped above it. Oh? The picture of what looks like a fennec fox on the outskirts of Echo staring at, well, I'm not sure. A shooting star? The fox kinda looks like Keith. Weird. Stinky wolf, it's you? Nope. That's you. You're a wolf. You're mega stinky. All hybrids are stinky. Especially a wolf. I flip over to the photo and notice that there is some smudged writing on the back. Whatever it once said is utterly intelligible now. I put it back and shift my focus to the monitor beneath it. It appears to be decades old judging by the worn paint, but it's apparently still functional. For some reason I can't really explain, I pick it up and press a single circular button in the center. It crackles with a low hissing noise, and that's when I realize it's some kind of walkie-talkie. After a few seconds of holding to the button, I speak into it. Hello? Oh my god, why? Why would you speak into the walkie-talkie that is potentially going to link up to them? Nope. Hybrids are stinky. Yeah. I nearly jump out of my skin at the groaning noise, mainly because it isn't coming from the device, it's coming from inside the room. My eyes dart around for the source, eventually finding one of the blankets piled up on the floor behind a table. It starts to move and I quickly back up. Leo, get in here! Heavy footfalls can be heard sprinting down the hall outside, the wolf pushing his way in with wild eyes. What? What's going on? He looks ready to pounce, though it's met only by me and a bedraggled-looking ram trying to untangle the comforter from his horns. Oh shit, hello! Okay, we found him. Okay, so why don't we just, like, I don't know, get Carl and get the hell out of here now? Ugh. Oh shit! Carl! There's a squeaky noise coming from the closet, and I notice Carl's unfocused green eyes start to wander in that direction. I look over and see the folding doors are slightly ajar. Were they like that before? That's when I see it. An eye. It peers through the crack, white and bloodshot. The door is rammed from the inside, knocking it to the side and sending toys and other miscellaneous junk flying. A hanging light bulb flickers in the closet as a figure steps through. I quickly realize it's Heather. She has blood on her legs and a revolver in her grasp. You! Get out! Go to hell away! I quickly throw out my paws. Leo hesitates a moment, then does the same. Hey, girlie, we mean you no harm. We just need... Leo stops talking, and I'm not sure why. That is until Heather shifts out of the way and I can see more clearly into the flickering closet. Hunched against the wall is what looks like an enormous doll. Upon further inspection, it's not a doll at all. It's a man, and there's red smear on the wall behind him. I recognize him from the drawing, a portly fellow with circular glasses, each of the lenses shattered by bullet holes. They're just empty sockets where his eyes once were. Atop his head is a little plastic crown embedded with the costume jewelry. Oh shit! Micah walks into the room, quickly recoiling at the sight of Heather and the figure in the closet. Carl hurtles back against the floor, seemingly trying to make himself look small. At first, Micah starts to approach the closet, but quickly stops as Heather brings up the revolver, pointing it at all of us. I've never actually looked down at the barrel of a gun before, and the feeling is petrifying. Heather, what the fuck are you doing? It's me, Micah. I don't care. You need to go. She shifts the revolver over, aiming it unsteadily at Micah. We all take a step back, my back now against the wall. Where the hell is Flynn? Did you shoot your dad? Holy fuck, Heather! Micah. That's what it is! Leo rumbles in warning. That's her fucking dad in the closet! I will kill all of you! A shot rings and Micah flinches. The weapon was aimed at him when it went off. He blinks shocked, and the bat's hands are beginning to shake as he checks his torso. He whirls around, spotting a light and a spray of blood around the bullet hole in the wall. That's when the pain hits him, and he slowly begins to raise his wing. Clipped right in through the center is a bloody hole, the edges of the impact site looking like frayed fabric. The bat slumps back, exuding a ragged grasp. You fucking shot me? Leo's eyes bulge and he starts to move, but stops when that revolver is swindled towards him. Heather! I shout, trying to draw attention away from the others, but quickly realize I have no clue what to say. We're just here looking for Carl. Remember, like we mentioned during the bonfire? Think Heather and Dad messed up. Think Heather and Dad might... I can't read that. My voice is shaky, cracking as I speak. The cat's chest rises and falls like she's hyperventilating. It's been that way since she stepped out of the closet. She makes her way over toward the slumped form of Carl, still half covered in his blanket. Then she points a gun down at him. I'm going to shoot him in his stupid, fat, ugly face unless you leave right now. She's absolutely screaming. Her demands spouted with such pitch, and her voice constantly cracks. Tears begin to roll down her already wet cheeks. Her eyes are puffy. Beneath her, Carl covers his face with a blanket, visibly trembling from a mixture of fear and exhaustion. Okay, right on. I swallow. That's the plan. Right, guys? We're just gonna leave nice and slow. I do my best to put a calm face as I nod to Leo and Micah. Are you fucking kidding me? Micah's outburst is directed toward me. Yeah. Okay, now I can read that, but like, ugh. That's actually disgusting. No, not after we come all this way. We're not leaving the rich boy. He practically hisses his words. He's cupping a hand over his wound and trying to avoid stretching the skin of his wing, as if that seems to just make the hole bigger. Heather, you have no reason to be keeping that chunky bitch here. Just let us take his ass and leave. Leave? Whoa. Heather repeats. I have nowhere else to go. Nowhere! Everything used to be bad, but it's not terrible like this. Keith barely talks to me anymore, and when he does, he says... She breathes in shakily. He says the meanest things. I cover my ears and I can still hear him. Keith is fucking gone unless he gave you some secret cell phone number I don't know about. You can't be speaking to him. Micah neglects to mention what we discovered about Brian's habits or the potential fate of his fox friend. But it's probably for the best that it isn't brought up. This is all hump shit, plain and simple. Duh! Duh, stupid! I know that! That doesn't explain anything, though! You just give it a silly name, but it's not silly. It's horrible and I hate it! Micah opens his mouth to snap back, but Heather shrieks a blubbering of spit coming from her mouth, snot running down her nose. She begins to press her finger closer to the trigger. Carl, move! She doesn't fully finish pulling the trigger, leaving us all staring wide-eyed in suspense. She looks like she's dry heaving and trying to throw up an immensely sick feeling within her that will not leave. I can barely hear anything anymore. The ringing is so loud. It just sounds like him. He won't stop. Heather flails in the direction of the shadowy figure in the closet. Even though the man in the closet is very much dead, he's propped up in a way that makes it look like he's watching Heather pace around the room. His dark sockets following her while her back is turned. She seems afraid to look at him. The feline closes her eyes for a moment. Oh man, you know, even though that would have been really fucked up, I would have liked to see like an art of that. Like an art of like her dad being like propped up to be sitting on the throne. That would have been really cool to see, but like then again, that probably would have been nightmare fuel. I can tell Leo's weighing his chances of whether he can tackle her to the ground before she can get a shot off. Before he can move, they open again and she squeaks. Her voice is still shrill but quieter. Everyone thinks I'm stupid, that I'll never do anything but rot away like everyone else. It has nothing to do with what Duke or Brian or Jeremy or Clint or anyone thinks will fix things. This whole town is just so shit. No argument there. Micah mumbles, wide-eyed. And it's not your fault. They're wrong. I don't even really know you. She points the pistol at me and it's like my heart crawls up in my throat, my whole body rigid with fear. This town is evil, and I'm gonna stop it. I'm gonna do something with my life for once, and I'm not gonna be some plaything. She growls at the ground as she says this. It's what Keith told me all the time before he went away for a while. Heather stands there, looking in place as if trying to muster the courage to do something. She begins to strafe, getting closer to the closet and bending down to pick something up beside the corpse. It's a bloody folder with a little booklet stapled to the front. I can get an idea in the head. Yeah, that it does give you that imagination kind of, like it does let you paint a picture, but at the same time, you know, like even that's disturbing to think about. I recognize the emblem on the cover, the Reclamation Bureau. Heather's paw covers the front, but I can still make out a daughter's damn basic operation and procedures manual. Outside, there's some movement by Duke's truck. Trying not to draw attention to myself, I glance out the window and spot the familiar pattern of orange and black scales in TJ's stuffy fur. There's a glint of something metallic, Flynn's repeater, which is currently sighted towards the hysterical cat. Heather is so close to us now. Flynn wouldn't risk trying to take the shot, right? The idea of Flynn shooting anyone is just unfathomable in its own right. Jenna's out there with him too. She's speaking to Flynn, pointing. The lizard is shaking, saying something back. This back and forth continues. What are you even talking about? I'm gonna make sure that there's no town. I'm gonna make it so that there is no town. As Heather turns away, she catches a glimpse of the blood on the folder, then looks back towards the closet. She screams, but she's not staring at the corpse. It's like she's looking above it, or something at eye level. Daddy? Oh! Glass shatters against my back, showering Carl below. Heather lurches forward, trying to scream, but that's all that spews from her mouth. All that spews from her mouth is blood. Pulls from her gritted teeth into a puddle on the floor. Heather's failing to grasp for air as fluid fills her lungs. She falls headfirst into the pool of her own fluids, tears still rolling down her face. Micah stands with his head in his hands, a look of shock plastered on his face. Nobody moves. Nobody says anything. Jenna enters the room first, her turquoise eyes fixed on the bloody form laying in the center of the room. Flynn is right behind her, looking initially rather gormless, though his eyes start to widen as he realizes what he's done. Oh. Good shot, Flynn. Everyone alright? I catch my breath against the wall, looking only up to see that slumped form still staring ahead at the closet. Quietly, I close the door. Yeah, I guess. Jenna looks over to Micah, spying the bullet hole in his wing. Her complexion darkens, and soon she's standing over Heather's body. The feline's eyes are still wide open, glassy with this sort of eternal shock. Jenna promptly delivers a swift kick to her head. Heather's neck now turned at a stiff angle. Bitch. You know what? After all that she put us through, I think that's fair. Flynn rests his palms on his knees, exceeding a dry retch. Leo steps over, trying to inspect Micah's wound. Flynn? Guys? Jenna's attention shifts to the ram on the floor. Carl, you can get up. It's safe now. We're free? Yes. And that makes 2 of these bastards who have tried to hurt us that we put down. Flynn stops coughing up air long enough to gape at Jenna. That we put down? Flynn points to Heather. I killed her. I'm the one who pulled the trigger. Flynn's voice is strange, way more high-pitched than I'm used to. Right, after I told you to. Yeah, I listened to you and now someone's fucking dead. Flynn covers his mouth, muttering quiet expletives. Well, you saved everyone. Carl is okay, all thanks to you. TJ lingers in the doorway, half hidden behind it. Heather, she was leaving. We were all fine. Flynn sits in the corner, clutching his repeater with a grip so tight I figure the barrel will bend any second. Fuck! Don't fucking say that. Don't fucking say that. I've never seen Flynn like this. I figured he'd be in some sort of... to take something like this as a necessity of the situation, but he's visibly shaking. Flynn, no one is going to prosecute you. She killed her dad and then shot Micah. You stopped her. You saved your friends. Saved Carl with a single shot. If you want to feel bad about this, that's your prerogative. I'm just stating the facts. Leo says nothing as he looks over Micah's wound, the bat himself visibly fuming. You told him to shoot, even after she picked up her shit and was heading towards the fucking door? You killed my goddamn friend! That was not remotely apparent, the angle. Fuck you, you piece of shit! Just like Jeremy said, you act like you know everything and then when shit fucks up you blame everyone else. Seeing Jenna increasingly backed into a corner, I decide to speak up. I don't think that's exactly fair. Rot, bitch. Micah sees in my direction. Meanwhile, Leo mutters to him, seemingly trying to get him to calm down. Oh, is that where the moral high ground is? Where is your standing? You and your friends tried to break into Carl's house and tip out his future kidnappers when he tried to flee from you. You're the entire reason we're here, Micah. And you still defend them, even after what they're capable of? That's absolutely unacceptable. Unacceptable? Who the f describes being pissed that your friend got murdered as unacceptable? Jenna, it's a little more complicated than that. Let's just get Carl and hightail it out of Echo, yeah? Leah looks to me, as if quietly asking me to back him up on this. Oh, and what Heather's capable of? Finally finding the strength to stop her fucking skeeve of a dad? True monster that. Jenna ignores Micah, her attention now on Leo. Oh, is this complicated for you? I'm so sorry, Leo. I know your sense of right and wrong can be a little added at times. You know, with you running around beating up people, sexually assaulting Chase in the mall, and fucking and filming a child. Bullshit! What? TJ is looking bleary-eyed and baffled in the doorway. Leo's jowls part, the wolf restraining a snarl as he releases grip on Micah. His right eyes glare down at Jenna, and it's an absolutely menacing image in his blood-soaked room. Come on, Carl, let's get you up. I'll grab some snacks and bandages and we can get you all sorted on the way back to Peyton, yeah? You too, Swiss cheese. He pats Micah's shoulder, the bat's nostrils are flared. The group exits quietly, Flint still quietly shaking his head. Jenna has her back turned up to me now, facing Heather's corpse. I reach out to her, speaking quietly that now we're the only ones in here. Jenna, they're just worked up. It's this hum business making people say all the wrong things, right? Why don't we get out? Voice is curt and strange. Words almost gurgled out of frustration and rage. Next thing I know, she's got a paw on my chest, pushing me out the door and slamming it behind me. What? I press my forehead against the window, watching my breath fog up the glass. Carl's straddling the middle seat with Flynn driving, and they seem to be doing a good job of calming each other down. Everyone else is in the truck bed in the back. Everyone except Jenna. She'd left without even so much as a goodbye, insisting that she'd take Heather's dad's car. I tried to stop her, but she wouldn't listen. She kept claiming that she had to do something. On our way out of town, we passed a couple of burning houses and even heard a gunshot or two. All makes me pretty damn glad this nightmare is almost over. Yet we've been driving for nearly half an hour and still haven't reached the interstate. Usually Flint Road doesn't take that long to get through. Even Flint is starting to get a little worried, checking for landmarks in the dark to make sure he hadn't missed a turn. I can still see the town in the distance, echo a glimmer of lights and smoke. 5 more minutes pass, but we eventually reach the interstate, emerging seemingly from nowhere. Streams of ambulances and police cars begin to pool on the opposite lane, all heading into town. I glance out the back window for one final look for Echo, when I notice something amiss. The lake. It's bigger. Way bigger. The shore is all the way up to the highway, with trailers and small vehicles peeking out from the tide. The others see it too. It's then that I remember something. When Jenna was leaving, there was something she was holding onto. A slightly bloody folder and booklet she tucked away into the Reclamation Bureau vehicle before heading off. I suppose he won't be coming back after all. Oh, fuck. Excellently put, kid. Wait, what? What? Huh? Wait, what? Wait, what just happened there? Okay, I see that Jenna has like this ghost look on her face now, but what? What just happened? Huh? Wait, I don't understand. Wait, so we left her there, but what was the folder about? Oh. That's what Heather said that she was going to do too. She said that she was going to make sure that there was no town and she was going to flood the entire town. But then Jenna did that, but at the same time, that means that she's dead too now. Folder says how the dam works. Yeah, so now Jenna is dead because she drowned with the rest of the town. Wow. That is pretty wild. The control room is high? But okay, but then what does that mean for Jenna? Does she just stay there? Dams are made to flow water. Yeah, like I know that, but like, oh my god, that's actually wild. Do we get like any epilogue for that? No, we don't. Okay, so then at what point Thursday it's the choices? Fuck, I didn't mean to load that. Oh, that's right. You're right. I can use the chapter select. Okay, so what did we choose here last time? What's the... Okay, it's to disagree. I don't know about that. He's still Leo after all. We've known each other for 15 years and he's like... I stopped short of saying family watching Jenna uncross her chest. Like someone I used to understand better than anyone. And it would feel kind of wrong to not at least try. For comparison, you disapprove of how Carl's been living too, but we're still out here trying to find him. I actually don't know if it's a good comparison, and judging by the look on Jenna's face, she doesn't seem to think so either. Look, there's a moment of hesitation, like she knows the right words to say, but she needs the time to phrase them more delicately. I understand that men have different hormonal... Okay, yeah, so we've seen this already. Okay, this also doesn't affect the story, right? We keep each other sane? Okay. I was really fortunate growing up. I had a boyfriend I loved, a group of friends who supported me, and a family who gave a shit. And I'm not like the world's most mentally healthy person, you know? I see a completely alternate timeline where I'm just like the rest of those guys in Tetanus Alley or worse. I rubbed the back of my neck sheepishly. I'm not good at making these reassuring speeches, but this is all stuff I've admittedly thought about before. That rat guy was right. Having someone around who gives a damn means the world. And isolating yourself from said world isn't how you make yourself better, it's the opposite. And for keeping me sane, I do think I kinda have you to thank for that in some part. My voice cracks and I try to recover it with a cough. Smooth. Huh, thank you, Chase. Jenna smiles lightly. That's actually rather beautiful. The other choice in this do, it's actually hard to get the bad ending because you need to agree and pick this town breaks the people get. Oh, that's right, because I did do that in my first playthrough. Yeah, okay. Well, that just means I'm an absolute dumbass and I just picked the absolute worst ending possible. Has this been on your mind for a while? I shrug. Lately, at least. Well, I like to think about that his and your sentiments are true. If we have time, I might stop by to see Jeremy. When I talked to him, he sounded like he wouldn't mind seeing you again. Jenna chuckles briefly. It's strange, isn't it? The notion of you talking to him now as adults. As kids, we were also at odds over truly stupid things. I suppose I'm curious whether he's grown up as well. I guess we'll see. Jenna raises a brow. Maybe, I mean. All this being said, I'm truly not excited to go back and talk to him, or his friends. For Jenna's sake, I can grin and bear it though. Okay, now we can have the option to skip. Okay, so anything unseen. Ooh, okay, so this one was just like a personal preference. Picked TJ last time. You know what? Let's make the choice. He killed the You know what? I'm not sure if you even know this game, Van, but somehow you were 100% correct. I made a decision and I killed the entire city, and I left my friend behind too. No one is a funny choice, non-choice. Okay, let's do non-choice. We'll try that out. I just can't shake the feeling that I don't really deserve anyone. I feel like I'm just a blank canvas that people can project whatever they want upon, you know? Jenna looks at me from across the living room, and I get the impression that she's pitying me. That's very sad, Chase. Though, I suppose for the sake of levity, I'm going to clarify the parameters of the question. You have to pick someone. I guess I'd expected some semblance of sympathy followed by reassuring, but firm words of wisdom. I don't think either of us have the stomach anymore for that sort of heavy discourse this early in the morning. Fine. Blank. Okay, wow. Uh, I mean, realistically, I think that this would be like I think Carl, right? Because I mean, oh, hold on. Let me make another save here. Let's actually replace this one. I'm gonna go back and see what the dialogue is. Jenna lets out a humor noise. Carl? Truly. Yeah, what's so wrong with that? Jenna quickly shakes her head. I'm not wrong, of course. It's just surprising. You seemed to get annoyed with him quite a bit in the old days, back when he was a little more excitable. Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean I didn't like him. Coffee begins to slowly drip from the coffee maker. He's mellowed out a lot since then, plus he's been working out. Oh? And here I thought I was talking about past tense. She smiles wryly, turning her head some to peer out the window. It's still dark out from this view, the window facing east and not getting any sunlight yet. I sigh, shaking my head as I feel a familiar burning sensation on my cheeks. Well, he's always been a really chill guy to hang around with, and we almost always manage to have a lot of fun together. I know he's going through some stuff, obviously, because he's literally missing, but he's still cool. Jenna looks back, lifting her head enough to give me a respectful nod. That's very sweet, Chase. And you have a blatant fetish for hooves. What? I gawp at her, waiting for just kidding. I see you staring at them when we're all hanging out at the time. It's fine, Chase. It's a perfectly natural thing to be attracted to. Well, the strange and different can be titillating. I don't believe this. Does she actually think I'm some kind of hoof fetishist? That's just absolutely not true. I mean, if anything, I'd go for the horns, right? Hell, Carl's were so naturally big he'd have surgery for them. There's a big taboo about touching a ram's horns, so I always made them kind of forbidden in a sort of salacious way. Whatever you say, Chase. I make a show of disgruntled grumbling, loud enough that she can hear me from across the room. In earnest, that's really cute that you like Carl. He can tell from what we saw on his desktop that he's pretty fond of you and the time you spent with them. And I promise I won't tell him what you told me here when he does turn up. I assume that last bit was a given. Uh-huh. That who fetish thing, though? That's a fair game. That's fair game, of course. Jenna. She holds up a flat of her paws, looking at me with a sleepy, innocent expression. Though I could be persuaded to keep such information in confidence. Do you still have some of that oatmeal with the little sugary dinosaur eggs in it at the motel? Yeah. Jenna just smiles lightly at me. Her tired, impish expression would be cute if it weren't for the fact that it's all at my expense. You can have some, I guess. I mean, if we find Carl. Otherwise, it's kind of just a moot point. Great. And don't worry, we'll find your future boyfriend. Future boyfriend? For some reason, the thought of that sends a weird, tingly sensation down my spine. It's not really something I want to put too much extended thought to with him missing and me leaving at the end of the week, though. You know, I really like mixing in applesauce when I make it. Huh? The oatmeal. Huh? I just put a bit of milk in it. If I don't have that, I just use more water. Okay, and now we go back here. I want to see what she says about Flynn. Jenna lets out a long sigh, so obviously disappointed already. She opens her mouth to say something, then stops. Then she begins to speak again. You're referring to teenage Flynn, not right now Flynn, correct? I shrug. In general, I guess? Even after what he said at the river? He's not only called you a slut, but a boring one at that. We both know that at least one of those things isn't true. Coffee begins to slowly drip from the coffee maker. Thank you, Jenna, for the continued words of confidence. I'll be sure to hire you for my continued therapy sessions down the line. She smiles briefly, turning her head to peer out the window. Still dark out from. Okay, yeah. But seriously, why though? It's a simple enough question, but for some reason I'm having trouble forming the words to answer. It's a no-nonsense attitude, a the fierce pragmatism, the dark sense of humor. I feel bad. Yeah, because like I think Flynn is like the most conflicting and the most confused character out of this entire story. Like he wants to find out the truth, but nobody is giving it to him. And like in two of the routes he dies, in his main one and TJ's. Was it the fact that he's a 6'7" predator with a venomous bite and lurid stare? Also, I love how 6 foot and then 7 is typed differently. All he managed to say is, he's gay? Really? That's it. I shrug my shoulders. Jenna looks back to me, waving her hand dismissively. Oh, well, that was kind of a boring conversation. Okay, so we're just gonna... Oh! What'd he do? Well, he didn't do anything to me, I guess. Just seemed like he hated my guts. I mean, I'm an adult now, so I shrugged most of it off. He shouldn't be treating you like that. We all are adults now. Yeah, why can't he just drop 75,000 on a college degree that teaches you saying slurs like a bad normal person? I can't fucking read. Jenna gives Flynn some side eye. Are you gonna ask for your dirt bike back? Okay. Yeah, so this is all the same. Okay. Okay, now I assume is where the dialogue starts getting different. But I just saw you now, and all of it just seems so silly now, doesn't it? Jenna doesn't even seem to react to Heather at first. She shuts off the screen of her phone and exhales, looking Heather in the eye. She doesn't speak immediately, and there's this sort of latent tension in the air. Yeah, it's a bit silly now. We're all very much grown-ups here. Ah, okay, now I see. And I appreciate the hospitality. Actually, we've got some spare cooked bluegill in the car. Spare? Flynn grunts. Flynn caught and cooked it himself. Flynn looks slightly less disgruntled after being credited, though it's clear that he really intended the food to be for us. Oh, bluegill is good. I really like walleye, though. I just caught bluegill, got some bass at home, but didn't bring it. Also, walleye ain't really in season. Oh, that sucks. Hey, that's cool that you caught and cooked it, though. That's really rustic. I usually just get something from the gas station. You're welcome. As for the issues with remembering things, I'm not quite licensed to be issuing diagnoses, but I did briefly volunteer at a memory center up in Payton. I actually think I have a card here, still in the bottom of my purse. Jenna digs through her handbag for a moment before withdrawing a faded little card. Heather takes it, peering over it with some visible trepidation at the clinical text and brain imagery imprinted on it. If you can get it right up there on a weekday, then generally can take walk-ins. The clerk there is a super nice horse guy named Jessop. He can help you get set up with a Medicaid to pay for it if you're not already covered. Don't know, Arches and Burrows is scary too? Alrighty. Yeah, Arches I think is going to be another one that I look at. Oh, that's super neat. Thank you. It'd be really cool if they could let me pick and choose which memories I get to keep, though. Jenna smiles, a flickering sense of melancholy behind her turquoise eyes. It would be nice, wouldn't it? Of course, the challenges and traumas we overcome shape who we are today. Oh yeah, totally. So, double bummer if you're not exactly happy with who you are today, right, Jazz? She lets out a sad sound and giggle. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Flynn blink some, then peer offward awkwardly. He spits on the ground, the faint smell of his venom wafting in the breeze for a moment. I'm guessing he bit that cap too hard. Jenna opens her mouth to respond, but she pauses. Her ear flicks some and she holds her arms over her chest. Yeah, double bummer. Let me go get that bluegill. I'll be right back. Oh, okay. Jenna heads back towards the truck and we're left standing awkwardly with Heather. Yeah, so, I'm gonna go get the others real quick, so, bye! Before we can say anything further, she takes off again. In the distance, I can hear her start running, her arms flailing with palsy-like limpness at her sides. I can't help but feel a sort of queasy sensation at the sight. This is what this place does to people. Jenna returns with the Tupperware, letting out alongside she sees Heather in the distance. Props to you for not just smacking the shit out of her. That was, weirdly cordial considering. Oh no, part of me wanted to. Trust me. That would have made things harder for this whole questioning business for sure. Well, there was that, and I suppose I was thinking about what you told me when we were walking earlier, Chase. Flynn raises a brow ridge, waiting for her to explain. She does not. I get the feeling you guys have a more intense history than I thought. I tried not to talk about it too much back in the day. Back then she was rude to me even when I'd done nothing wrong to her. I figured she was just insecure and left it at that. Then one night she came up to me with no one else to turn to, tears in her eyes. She claimed that she had some pretty serious problems going on at home and wanted to tell me about it. From that point forward I was ready to defend her, to help her in any way I could. Short of going to the police, of course, because she begged me not to. It started out as little things, the favors. She was too emotionally distressed for her to do her homework, so I did it. She couldn't come to class because of a panic attack, and the teacher wouldn't understand, so I lied for her. Yep, this is what she yelled at towards Heather in that last run. She needed money to see a friend in Payton, so I gave her what little money I had. This went on for some time until eventually enough was enough. I had my own problems, especially at home, and I couldn't just juggle the well-being of everyone. That's not my responsibility. I told her upfront that I was going through a tough time and I couldn't do those favors anymore. But I was always available to talk. That wasn't good enough, of course. Despite being busy with her fractured home life and the stresses of school, she still found time to create this elaborate revenge on one person who cared enough to help. Next thing I know, her latest boyfriend of the week and his friends are pounding on my front door at 10 p.m. And what does he tell mom and dad when they open the door? She deepens her voice, putting on a dude bro accent. Yo, I'm looking for Jasmine. She told us to meet out here to get some. So not only did they convince my idiotic parents I was fucking 5 guys, including her boyfriend, she told the whole school. I had my paw smashed in a locker, was fired from my part-time job, and lost all my friends outside of you guys. Yeah, she did have a rough childhood. Jenna gestures to the both of us. She made herself the sufferer in that narrative, the one who had mistakenly trusted the weird, horny anime girl. Jenna takes a sharp breath in between her nostrils, her composure otherwise completely solid. And she didn't even have the dignity to atone for her actions when the chance was standing right in front of her. She continues to lie and manipulate her way through every social interaction to make herself feel better. It's the perpetuation of this endless cycle of perceiving herself as this sort of eternal victim, when in reality it's complete delusion that hurts her and everyone around her. With the way Jenna rattles off point after point regarding Heather's transgressions, it's evident that this is something that she's thought about greatly, maybe even rehearsed. I can't believe you never told me any of this. When I was hanging out with you guys, that whole drama was the last thing I wanted to talk about. You know, it was actually Leo who kept prodding me that something was wrong and insisted he'd help. I suppose he meant well enough. Then the hillaways, the dusty shape of 2 figures can be seen emerging from an old shed. One of them pauses as he sees Heather sprinting off the road, while the other ignores her and carries on. Eventually, though, the both of them see us and begin making their way in our direction. Well, here comes the gang. I sidestep over to Jenna, lowering my voice some. But, are you okay? Jenna seems slightly surprised at the question, giving me a light smile. Maybe one day she'll realize what she did, even if it's not today. So to put it simply, I'm good. Chase, thank you for the concern. After what she just expressed, that's a bit of an oversimplification, but I'm not going to press the issue. She probably really wanted that catharsis. So, would you come back with your posse to intimidate did you come back with... So what? Did you come back with your posse to intimidate us or whatever? Jeremy's dull eyes are focused on me. I'm starting to feel increasingly intrusive, standing next to their bonfire with their beer. This is definitely the sort of shit that would get me smacked down as a kid. Is he here? The smaller bat whispers to Jeremy, seeming to be walking directly behind him as if he's trying to stay out of sight. Nah, man. Micah lets out a relieved sigh, and after a moment, the familiar white fuzzy form of Micah emerges from behind the rotund fennec. He's clutching something though, a long piece of rebar. First I think he's holding it as a sort of self-defense weapon. But then I notice the hot white ash coated on the end. I'm guessing it's a makeshift poker for the bonfire. Weird Blue Bee? Why don't I... Oh, hey, no worries, buddy. Welcome on in. The Blup welcomes you. We're still happy to have you with us. Hello, Jeremy. Hey, sis. Man, I like ask how you been, but I'm assuming good, right? Generally speaking, yes. Where's Heather? Oh, she said she had to go do something real quick. I think she'll be back? Well, like I said, I'm well enough. However, we are still looking for Carl, as Chase here made you aware yesterday. Jeremy looks over at me with a tepid expression, the faint outlines of a grimace forming at the edge of his muzzle. Really? Really? Flynn steps up, the Gila tall enough that his shadow falls directly upon the smaller fennec. Whoa, Rockabilly. I don't see you much out here. Fucking wonder why. Micah glares at him from across the bonfire, the shifty-looking bat increasingly agitated by our presence. We told Schizo all we knew yesterday. Evidently not, and yeah. Don't call him that? Jeremy lets out an amused noise, though it's clear he's also getting a bit tense, especially with Flynn's looming form. Heather was saying y'all were talking about Carl after the drop, all secretive-like. Shortly after, he fucking disappears. You tit dirts want to extrapolate on that? Jeremy lets out an astonished puff of air, turning to peer past Jenna and me. Wow, dude, you really did fucking go crying to your friends for help. I feel a knot starting to form in my stomach, and I resist the urge to clench my fists. I'm just trying to find Carl. He's your friend too, right? Fuck no. Rich tits don't get any love around these parts. Didn't even think the guy had friends anymore after you two left. He points to Jenna and I. Flynn scowls, but he doesn't say anything. Yo, does Mommy Mayor know you're here? Micah's looking up at Flynn now. 'Cause I won't be harassed, bitch. Flynn actually laughs, exasperated beyond measure. Kid, you shut your mouth before I call your parents. I'm nearly 21 now, you can't do shit. Wow, he's that old? Yeah, I can call the sheriff on you for trespassing and an unpermitted burning during fire season, and they charge you as an adult. When the world is happening, I came 2 hours late. We are playing Echo. We just completed the route that we were on, and now we're on a completely separate route in the same story because I got the bad ending. Then why is your faggot ass here instead of them, bitch? Jenna rubs her temple with both paws. Okay, let's put a stop to that. Apologies for intruding on your Ahoa party, but we wouldn't be here if this wasn't serious. This ain't serious to me. Seems like a big joke seeing you clowns back together. Micah, enough. Her tone is so stern and maternal that it visibly catches the bat off guard. Patchworks, bark! We're doing good. We're playing some Echo tonight. We're doing another route of Echo because I got the bad ending. We got the bad ending on our main route, so now we're trying to get the good ending. He seems surprised that she even remembers his name. Like, let's just have a seat, alright? Alright, sis, whatever you say. Micah blinks at Jeremy's response, then grumbles quietly. Yeah, whatever. The bat looks over her shoulder before moving to one of the camping chairs and taking a seat. Jeremy does as well. Both seem to make a conscious effort to not sit in the princess ones. Flynn takes another swig from his beer and joins them. I hesitate a bit, but Jenna beckons me forward. As I sit, the singeing burn from the fire mixes with the glaring heat of the sun above. It feels kind of like I'm slowly being cooked. It's incredibly uncomfortable, but I seem to be the only person bothered. Oh, by the heat, that is. We got empanadas in the mini oven. Is that an offer? It's a threat. What? Dumbass. Boys. Micah shifts in his seat. He keeps looking at Jeremy as if wondering why he's even humoring this. He miserably pokes at the bonfire with his rebar, sparks flinging forth and dissipating in the desert dust. Jeremy, meanwhile, scoots his chair over and peers inside the little toaster oven-looking thing. It's hooked up by what looks like a 50-foot extension cord that goes into the shattered window of a nearby trailer. Yeah, they probably need a little more time cooking anyway. Now about Carl. About Carl. Yeah, I didn't want to tell you, you know? He gesticulates towards me. He's been like really depressed as of late. I mean, anyone would get that impression if they talked to him a little. I think that like, once you're so rich you have everything you want and don't need to work, it fucks with you. Life alone ain't good enough, man. You know it's good for you, this stays between us, cool? He looks from Jenna to Flynn and then finally to me. Mike is staring hard at Jeremy. The runty bat's lips thinned over his little fangs. Sure. Yeah, whatever. I suppose it depends. Flynn sighs loudly, placing his face in his hands. We didn't do nothing to Carl direct like. He just kept telling me he wanted to feel something, you know? Didn't care what it was, didn't care what it did to him. I kept telling him like, nah man, you're too soft for this, but he wasn't having it. So I gave him like a sample bag. I thought you told me you didn't give him anything else. I said I didn't give him anything laced. There's a difference, yo. Plus I figured you wouldn't frown his tweaky fat ass by now. A sample bag of what? Flynn practically growls. Speed. You gave Carl meth. Carl asked for fucking meth? That's horseshit. I don't know what to tell you, man. You must not know him as well as you think. Carl and meth? It doesn't make any sense. Carl's got really into the enlightened drug use thing in high school, but he was never on board with that stuff that hard. Flynn is fuming in his seat, and even Jenna looks perplexed. Jeremy, where are you getting meth? Yo, that's enough questions. Yeah, like, out of respect for your situation and stuff, I thought you should know. But we ain't got anything more than that. God damn it. Flynn's face is pulled into a silent snarl. His eyes are clenched shut. Jenna's just frowning to herself. Her phone is in her lap. No one says anything for a while. I have a million questions, but I don't think they'd answered any of them. For some reason, the first thing out of my mouth is, what's an Ahoa party? Jeremy and Micah both look at me with quizzical expressions. Oh, something that Keith came up with. Yeah, it means like happy and Meseta or something. Well, not exactly happy. Something more profound than that, I'm sure. Everything had a fucking deeper meaning with him, didn't it? Jeremy lets out a mirthless snark, the Fennec grabbing a few paper towels before taking the empanadas out and setting them out on a small tray. Yeah, but who's Keith? How the shit do you not remember Keith? Micah looks downright offended. He sounds familiar, I just can't put a face to the name. Well, you're in luck, Muskman. I'm not sure what he means until I see him move to pick up something sitting up on one of the half-folded up camping chairs. It's a picture frame with a bunch of different pieces of handwriting on the back. To my surprise, he walks over and hands it to me. Yep, there he is. In the frame, there's a pretty unelaborate picture of a stone-looking fox guy. He's in a ratty lifeguard bucket hat and wearing an oversized hoodie with a stylish-looking eye on it. I feel like I've seen him before, but only in passing. You bring this with you everywhere? Just to the bonfires. Kind of like a super old tradition we picked up after what happened. I know, it's like super culty, creepy and shit, but Keith would have thought this was neat. It was all about that whole moral support, big brother vibe. What happened to him? The question's blunt, and this seems like one hell of a sensitive topic for these guys, but now I'm genuinely curious. Because the stream, somebody made the comment saying, all the loans couldn't. So to do with the chat. Wait, what? Oh. Oh yeah, breaking text to speech. That's always a great thing. He went missing. One day he's here slinging dope and playing foosball with us in that moldy shack he ran out of borrowed, and the next gone. Nobody knew where he went? Nope. Next thing we knew, Micah poofed as well. The bat looks guilty, squirming in his seat. We didn't expect you to show up back together though. Same goes to you, I guess. He looks over to Jenna. She responds with a polite smile and nothing more. What's going on here? As I hear Clint's voice, I see Micah quickly sit upright, visibly startled. There they are, look! I told you, I didn't tell him anything! Heather's tugging at the weasel's tank top, but Clint quickly smacks her hand away. Clint. Looks like death. Emaciated, disheveled, teeth rotting out of his head, his fur falling out and pink lesions dotting his flesh. Jeremy and Micah look pretty rough, but nowhere near as bad as him. I quickly hand the Fennec his picture back. We were just leaving. Jenna pulls her purse tight to her sides and stands up. Thank you for your hospitality. It was good seeing you again, Jeremy. I should fucking kill you three right here, you little cunts. Get the fuck out of here now. Go, go, go. I'm getting my fucking gun. I'm getting it. Clint stops off towards the nearby trailer, swearing up a storm. Oh, shit. Micah quickly refocuses his attention on the rest of us. Yeah, get the hell out of here. I half expected Flynn to start shouting back, but instead I look over and he's already up. The Geel is making a clicking noise and gesturing it with his head towards his truck. No, Clint, it's okay, I swear! I quickly get out of my seat and fast walk to catch up with them, and Jenna does the same. What was like? Oh, gotcha. What the hell? That's all Jenna can say as she shakes her head in disbelief. We hop in Flynn's ride and we take off without looking back. Okay, I assume we can skip now, right? Yeah, now we can skip. So, it stops whenever we see something that we already know. So now we... Oh, and now... Okay, so whoever we decide to choose with, the dialogue is also slightly different here. Crack. Sleep okay? Do you remember any more about Flynn holding you in his big scaly arms? I covered my face with my paw, regretting telling her all this personal crush stuff already. To be honest, I kinda want to be the big spoon with them, but that's not something I really want to talk about right now. Understood. Okay, yeah, so now we go through all of this. Oh! Right, but what? I sigh, rubbing my palm over my face. We need to find Carl, but this isn't any way to go about doing it. Nothing, I'll do it. Good, you're a schizo, but I never really took you as the sort to be down with torture and shit. Part of me is kinda happy to see Clinton get his ass kicked, though. Oh yeah, fucker deserves a deck to the jaw every now and then, but I've counted 3. A flicker of a nervous smile crosses the bat's face. Yeah, not cool. Thanks. He says that last bit so quietly I almost miss it. The bat's already back to smushing his nose against the dusty window, trying to get a good look at what's happening. His brow furrows. Wait, where'd he go? Oh, so now this is all the same. Then Brian comes in. Okay, I assume that there's also nothing different with Brian as well. Oh, yep, here he is. Yep, there's Shadow Chase. Yeah. Yep, and then Brian is here. And then we get the torture scene here, which, again, we really do not need to see this scene again. I really don't want to read through this. And I mean, if you guys do want to see the scene again, then yeah, if you guys want to see the scene, then you guys can go through one of the VODs. Yep, okay, just do it. Yeah, so now we've already... Oh. Don't you care? Someone died here. I think he matters somehow to me. Chase. Her eyes drift to the skull cropping out of the mound of the dirt. God, I passed this so many times just out here walking. Never know there was a person buried here. How old is the ID card? I squint at some of the smudged text. 70s, I think. At least that's when it was last renewed. Jenna frowns. Poor guy. She crouches down beside me, taking the license for a moment. You should hold on to this so that we can give it to the proper authorities for them to handle. I wonder if anyone out here is still looking for him, or even remembers who he is. Her eyes flicker over the little card, settling on the picture. He looks kind of familiar, too. My wife goes out at 12. All good, buddy. All good. you like being... Listen, I don't like any scenes with Brian. Brian is just the torture masochist. He's a disgusting character, but that's what he's good at in those scenes. I really do not want to read through that again. She hands me back the ID, then extends out her arm to help me up. With the knot in my stomach, I take her hand and I use her weight to rise up without putting too much strain on my injured leg. I think he might be in my head. The words leave my mouth more casually than I meant, and Jenna does a little double take towards me before letting go. Well, tell him I said hi. We'll deal with him in a bit. She's just like Cynthia sometimes. He says you're just like Cynthia sometimes. Jenna stares at me, then the grave, then back to me. Uh... She brings 2 fingers to her temple, massaging it. Chase, please don't listen to the voices in your head right now. She responds curtly as Micah arrives behind her, Leo hobbling at his side. You okay, Otter? Okay, yeah, so we've seen this. Okay, let's go for the Micah route here. Dead guy looking familiar. Yeah, most dead people look familiar, and some are just bones. You know, that is kind of funny that she mentioned that he looks familiar in that. Okay, let's go for Micah here. Because we haven't seen Micah's route. Okay, well, I presume Micah's here the only one who would generally know how to talk them down. I doubt they really like taking orders from Brian, and now that he's dead, presumably, hopefully dead, it should be easy to get them to stop all this shit. Micah offers me a tired smile. Chase, I'm gonna steal you something nice when this is over. You need a new MP3 player? I chuckle a bit, shaking my head, which was a bad idea because it still smarts something fierce. I just use my phone for music. Thanks, though. Jenna, who's still supporting me as I walk, huffs. I'm just worried about Carl. It's hard to put my trust in someone else when his life is on the line. Yeah, but like I said, I know them. Jeremy and the same kid you ditched back in high school. Jenna hums. Yeah, I noticed that when he left us in a torture trailer to die. I doubt he knew how far Brian would take it, but yeah, cunt level has gone way up. We'll say something about Sam and stuff later. Alrighty. Still pretty dangerous no matter what. Jenna looks sidelong towards the wolf, narrowing her gaze some. She still seems pretty disgusted with the wolf for the van revelations, and the further we get away from it, I'm starting to feel myself get more and more ill at the thought. The camera, Jesus. Leo had asked if we... Okay, yeah. I shut my eyes trying to not think about it. Focus. Just gotta find Carl. Okay, I think, yeah, this is all the same. Yeah, so we've read this. Now, what depends is the interaction with Jasmine. I mean, not Jasmine, Heather. At first, Micah starts to approach the closet, but quickly stops as Heather brings up the revolver, pointing it at all of us. I never actually looked down at the barrel of a gun before, and the feeling is petrifying. Heather, what the fuck are you doing? It's me, Micah. I don't care, you need to go. She shifts the revolver over, aiming it unsteadily at Micah. We all take a step back, my back now against the wall. What the hell is Flynn? Did you shoot your dad? Holy fuck, Heather! Micah? Leo rumbles in warning. That's her fucking dad in the closet! Okay. The weapon was aimed up at him when it went off, and then... Yeah, so... Clipped as a bloody hole. Okay. Okay. Okay, bark, 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 bark. Okay, so we have seen this. Yeah, so we read all of this already. Okay, so what? So does she still get shot here? She blubbers before promptly stumbling out of the room in full sprint, elbow checking Micah so hard that he gets knocked on his ass. We stand there in silence as Heather's footsteps fade out of earshot. The sound of a car being started can be heard as I peer out the window and I can see her father's utility vehicle peeling out of the driveway. Oh, fuck me. Micah whispers harshly, pulling himself up to his feet. The smell of blood and gun smoke lingers heavily in the air, and I realize my legs feel like gelatin. I nearly collapse back against the wall, trying to catch my breath. I gotta go. Have a good night. Sorry I came so late. No problem, Weird Blue. I hope you have a good night and get a good night's rest. Come on, bark. As desensitized as I'd been feeling, the fear was still very real in that moment. Everyone alright? Leo's asking in my direction, though, and gives a little look towards Micah. Yeah, peachy. Micah promptly walks toward the closet door and slams it shut. I don't want to look at that anymore. There are no objections to that. Jenna walks over towards the blanket Carl is hiding under. Gingerly, she pulls it off of him, exposing the rough-looking random underneath. He flinches at first, but the next thing I know, Jenna's pulling him in for a tight hug. Oh. Carla's own massive arms envelop her, the two embracing her long enough for Flynn and TJ to finally arrive. Carl! TJ gasps. Flynn, meanwhile, stops dead in his tracks in the doorway, looking a little shaky upon his feet. Jenna pulls back, wiping her eyes with the back of her forearm in such a quick movement, I don't think anyone but me noticed. Carl himself can't stop shivering as if the room is freezing. He's still visibly disoriented, mind racing as all these familiar faces appear in front of him. Is it? Is it really? Huh. Carl, you big cloven idiot. Oh my fucking god. Flynn drops his rifle, stepping up and resting a large hand on his shoulder. Dude. He mumbles a rasp of disbelief. I'm gonna go get him some water. Hey Micah, come with me and look for food. Something that'll go down easy, yeah? The bat nods, not interested in this tender reunion as the rest of the gang. They head out towards the kitchen. He's hurt. Flynn points to the raw, inflamed-looking skin around his neck, as well as the various cuts and bruises that appear elsewhere on his body. One happy moment and one sad moment. Oh yeah, cause we killed Flynn in TJ's route, and that's when the music played, right? It's pretty surface level, but we should definitely get him to a doctor in Payton. We're free? Carl asks, looking up at me. Looks like it. I respond casually, approaching him and giving him a big hug of my own. Yeah, okay, so that is where it happened. He's so warm, and his shaky breath against my neck actually feels pretty good. TJ joins in as well, sobbing into Carl's fur and muttering things I can't quite make out. Hey, you too. Carl eases his grip on me, peering up at the tall lizard leering over him. What? You heard me. Flynn frowns, but ultimately relents and crouches down, giving his friend a stiff hug. Wow, that's the first time we've seen Flynn smile in a hot minute. Carl, meanwhile, clings to him like his life depends on it, evoking a few irks and grunts from the scaly one. Despite the pained noises, I can catch a glimpse of Flynn's face. He's smiling, and more broadly than I've ever seen him in a long time. Oh man, we are going to be in for a ride, chat. Carl scoops up another spoonful of tapioca pudding, the remnants of the other empty cups he'd gone through sitting on the counter next to him. I've only managed to get halfway through mine. Feeling pretty messed up to be eating a dead guy's food. Well, in my free hand, I'm fidgeting with the pink walkie-talkie thing from Heather's room. I'm not entirely sure why I picked it up, and when Leo gives me a look, I shove it back in my pocket. Carl vomited after we got him to the kitchen. Twice. So I guess it's good that he's at least doing a little better. He cried for 15 minutes straight while our wounds were tended to. TJ seems to have mainly snapped out of whatever funk he was in earlier, beyond an occasional strange look toward Flynn. His knowledge of sports medicine actually came in handy when with patching everyone up with what we could find on hand. Fortunately, Heather's dad was not short on painkillers. Don't give me any of that fentanyl shit. But you got shot. And? TJ stares dumbfounded. There's not too many nerves there. Just hurts a bit when I stretch the skin. I'm more hurt by the gall she had to fucking shoot me, for Christ's sake. Are you sure? Those cuts look pretty painful, and it'll be a long ride back to Payton. TJ inspects the prescription bottle. Curiously enough, the pharmacy label has Brian's name on it. I've lost too many friends in Pueblo to the stuff. You went to Pueblo? Jenna chimes in from across the hall, watching out from the kitchen window. Well, I wasn't exactly enrolled at the PU. I bummed around the outskirts. I'm surprised you never ran into any of us there. We most likely didn't frequent the same spots unless you really like tattoo parlors and ska. I love ska. Shut up, Toby. It's TJ now. Alright, I gassed up my truck with a few of the gas cans lying around by the carport. It's got a full tank, so we don't gotta risk stopping at the gas stations by the Flint turnoff. We load up, gun it, and we should be in Payton just before daybreak. Sounds like a good plan. Does it? I clutched my forehead, the voice from earlier ringing between my ears. After everything that had settled down, I honestly hadn't expected to hear it again. Any sign of Heather? No. Last I saw, she was heading northbound on the 65. She frowns in thought. North? Fucking beats me. There's not much going on to the north. There's no real exit back to the main interstate system. Just the old military area and lots of country roads that lead nowhere. And the dam. The dam. Oh fuck. All eyes shift to me. She's heading toward the dam. Her dad works there. Well, worked there. No one has opened the closet since Micah shut it. And? Flynn grunts, dangling his repeater from his fingertips. She took that folder with her when she left. The one about the dam operating procedures. Really? I didn't get a clear look at what she was holding. Yeah, I'm telling the truth here. I believe you. Flynn squints his eyes some. Are you saying Heather's gonna fuck with the dam? I mean, what else could she be doing? We all heard her speech, right? Yeah, she was screaming it. That bitch can barely open a doorknob. You think she can figure out how to open a floodgate of that size? Micah pulls a beer from the fridge, sipping on it gingerly before speaking. I'm pretty sure I remember her dad brought her up there to work a lot when we were growing up. She hated it. He disappears back into the kitchen. For someone who experienced the things we have this morning, he seems oddly composed. It makes me wonder what kind of shit he's seen before all this. I think back to some of my preliminary research that I did for my project. And by preliminary research, I mean looking at the county's website historical section for 30 minutes. One of the things that jumped out at me was how big Lake Emma used to be, over twice the size it was now. Most of the lakes in this part of the state are man-made, but this one is natural, ancient. The settlers just shrunk it down, siphoning away water for the iceberg lettuce and cotton fields to the east, past the mountains. Alright, let's load up everyone. Leo changes the topic, him and Flynn heading to the door. Wait. Huh? Jenna steps over beside me, seemingly in deep thought before regarding everyone else. So, we know what Heather's plan is. And you all still intend to leave? Yes. Leo responds promptly. No way she can manage what she's planning. We gotta get Carl and the rest of you lot some medical attention. You sure about that? She's got her dad's keys, the codes, the guidebook, and presumably she's got a pretty keen knowledge of how all this shit works already. I mean, shit, I want to get out of here, but the poor fuckers who are still here better know how to swim. You think Echo would flood? Micah shrugs. Jenna presses her fingertips to her forehead, exhaling. I truly hate to say it, but we should go after her. What? No way. Absolutely the fuck not. There ain't no goddamn way you're making me drive the opposite direction of ending this whole nightmare of an evening. Jenna turns, giving him a look. Fuck you. Jenna smiles tiredly up the big gala. I knew you had some common sense in there somewhere. Maybe even a heart. Like, I love that it just, like, hard cuts there. That's so fucking funny. I get stuck here because I'm the only fucker who knows how to shoot. Someone needs to watch your asses. He pauses. Also, I knew how my aunt would kill me if I just let this shit go down. Her being the mayor and all? Yeah, that transition, like, even though it was static and sudden, that's perfect for what it was. I love that. Yeah. Since when did you suddenly start giving a shit about Echo Townies? The question is clearly directed at Jenna, the lizard grunting in her direction. Jenna shifts in her seat, having to straddle in between Flynn. His truck isn't very big, and none of us particularly wanted a ride in the back. Besides TJ, of course, who always seemed to enjoy being in the truck bed. Fortunately, he managed to call shotgun, which may have not been the wisest of things to shout when everyone was on edge, but too late now. I don't know. She says all the matter of factly. This evokes a raised brow from the lizard. I just thought about myself, leaving everything behind like that, knowing what might happen, and I didn't want to be that person. Flynn blinks, wondering if this was truly Jenna he's talking to right now. Fuck, college does make you a bleeding heart, doesn't it? Leo wasn't kidding. He sighs, the highway stretching out in front of us for miles and miles. Jenna turns to me, giving me an appraising look before speaking. Thank you for coming, Chase. I know you didn't have to, but it means a lot. Oh yeah, no problem. Every inch of my body longs to be heading homeward, driving back to Payton, to freedom, but here I am. At least Jenna's here. Despite everything that's happened. Brian's attack, the hallucinations, the kidnapping, the haunted van, the voice in my head? Had this house and the town going nuts? Everyone is silent as our heads shine down the long stretch of Route 65 ahead. Maybe we're just exhausted. Physically, emotionally, spiritually. I exhale and rest my forehead against the cool window, watching the town's lights blur past. Soon the lights stop and are replaced by darkness, shadows of shapes barely visible through the condensation-tinged glass. We never go this way. No one does. We're getting close to Echo Canyon, the bumps and hills of Echo being replaced by vast open desert, contrasted by the sheer cliff face of the western mesa. There's not much out here but land owned by the feds, most notably the dam and the old proving grounds. I remember there used to be a checkpoint booth up ahead, but it hasn't been manned in decades. It's here you can see the lake most clearly, all of it. It seems smaller than I remember, yet there's still that tightness in my gut and the urge to look away. So I do. I keep my eyes fixed on the space between my feet. Flynn's camouflage patterned floor mat oddly captivating. It's then that I notice a blinking green light shining through my left pocket. Instinctively, I think it's my phone and reach for it, but then I remember as I pull it out. It's the pink walkie-talkie baby monitor thing from earlier. I run my thumb over the surface of it, feeling the worn chipped plastic. It looks like there might even be little teeth marks on the side, like a small child gnawed at it at some point. I remember being like that, thinking everything colorful must be some edible dessert, waiting for it to be bitten into. I press my thumb against what I think is the talk button, but any labels of this thing have long worn off. Bringing the device up a little, I open my mouth as if to speak, but stopped short of actually saying anything. I realize I don't want to freak the others out right now. Seeing the lake again, I look back down. Hello, good sir. I freeze. Hello? Flynn looks over at me. Huh? Jenna stares ahead. Hello, good sir. That same voice, crackling old and spoken in the same cadence as before. I glance over and Flynn's gone back to focusing on driving with Jenna still looking at the road blankly. No one's reacting to this thing going off. Hello, good sir. Is there a voice really coming from this old toy? I stare at the flashing green light and am reminded of the van from earlier. That voice felt much more vivid, alive, real sound. This one is like I'm remembering a sound, but I've never heard this voice before. And how are you? Huh? And how are you? It repeats. It's distorted, but it sounds like a woman's voice. I've been better, that's for sure. Sorry to hear that. Oh my god, we're telepathically communicating with this thing. Oh, I guess it can read my thoughts. That's comforting. Things will get better soon. I start to consider sliding the walkie-talkie back into my pocket. Nothing this thing is saying can be doing me any good right now, especially now noting that I'm the only one hearing it. Just more hallucinations. Crazy swamp gas, tulpa bullshit. It doesn't seem to be saying anything now. The minutes pass and I begin to relax some. I look past the device in my paw, the night sky reflected upon the surface of the lake, a streak of white light where the moon is. Not your fault. The voice comes through a little clearer. What do you mean? Not your fault. Intentions pure. The words start coming out even choppier as if hastily clipped from an audio file. It was a loving act, and one cannot fault themselves for a loving act. What are you talking about? I wish we could talk more, but you have places to be. Places to be. The road begins taking us to a canyon proper, and the light on the walkie-talkie flicks off. Wait. Oh, I was about to say, like, is this the same dam from the Transformers movie? Like the very first one, but no. I've never actually been here before. I mutter. Fascinating. Now keep your fucking voice down. I can see her car up by the service building. The building itself isn't too large, only about 500 square feet with windows on all sides. We creep forward, Flint with the rifle in grasp. Micah, Carl, TJ, and Leo are hunkered down beneath the truck, out of the light of fire. Micah's a fucking Chad. My guy got shot and he's still here. Leo had been pretty insistent on going with us to approach, but both Jenna and Micah agreed that would probably be a bad idea. Unsurprisingly, we're the only vehicles parked out here. Alright, Jenna whispers, wiggling her paws out on either side of her, as if to shake the nerves out. I'm going to announce myself and approach. Flynn, please just keep the line out of sight. Maybe she wouldn't be as crazy out here. You know, on account of being less hummy or whatever. Flynn looks utterly goddamn perplexed at whatever I'm talking about. Honestly, I don't fully understand it myself, but its effects were pretty damn evident earlier. Well, that's a theory. It's all Jenna says, giving my waist a gentle pat to which I frown. Okay, I need to set up. Flynn's, Flynn eyes an outcropping along the side of the canyon edge next to us, pointing to it. The slope isn't too steep to climb, and the bushes and rocks act as a natural cover for a vantage point. I'll be up there. If you need me to shoot, just mark the Charlie horse symbol behind your back or something. The Charlie horse symbol? I ask. Flynn rolls his eyes, then moves his hand back down to his thigh and makes the OK gesture with his fingers, but turned upside down. I recognize it instantly, moments before Flynn strikes my thigh with his knuckles. Ah! Jenna quickly shoves her paw over my muzzle, shooting a glare at Flynn. Flynn! Unacceptable. Flynn appears unapologetic, checking the lever on his repeater. Okay, I'm heading up. Jenna lets out a little puff of air, her tail still behind her. Flynn turns, glancing back at her. I got your back. She gives the Gila a grateful nod. Thank you, Flynn. There's a pause, and she speaks again. I'm glad you've cooled down since your outburst at the river. I know how much you wanted to talk. It's a strange timing to Jenna's words, and a finality to them, as if she's getting the words unsaid out in the open before facing the danger that awaits us. I think Flynn recognizes this and he stops. Sid's dead. You two ain't yet. Let's keep it that way. Oh! Finally moving on, maybe? Jenna and I stand there for a moment. Wow. I mutter. I can tell it's an oversimplification of Flynn's feelings on the matter, but right now that particular spat can wait. The others are starting to peek their heads out from behind the truck, wondering what we're doing. It's not too late to back out, you know. Come on, Chase. Of course, I do appreciate the sentiment. I could always take Carl's advice, though. He spoke to you? He was zonked out in the truck. He was zonked out in the truck bed last night. Last I saw. She nods, lowering herself to a crouched position. I do the same with the grimace. He mumbles, suplex her. I let an amused exhale through my nose, untangling my tail from a bush I'm pushing through. Oh, Carl. Good to have him back. As we approach, I can see the front door to the surface building is open, light spewing out from the inside. We're far enough away that our truck isn't really visible. We prop ourselves up to the either side of the door. Sniffling and distraught mumbling can be heard from inside, including the rapid flipping of pages and clicking noises from a computer terminal. Hey, Heather? The noises stop. Oh boy. Jenna looks over at me, lowering her voice. Chase, get back. What? No, I'm not leaving you. Jenna? You followed me? Here we go again. Jenna comes out from her cover and I peek in as well. Inside, a computer with a bunch of monitors hooked up on the wall is turned on. One of those monitors has a window open called floodgate control. Maybe she knew what she was doing after all. Chase? I grimace, trying to quickly shift it into a smile. Hi! I can practically feel the cringe from Jenna beside me. I don't know why I said hello like that. Long night. I clear my throat. We wanted to make sure you were okay and maybe see if you wanted to maybe reconsider your course of action? Heather reaches over towards the desk, and next thing I know, she has her pistol trained on us. We quickly duck back behind the wall. You two can't stop me. I know this is what I have to do. I saw the future in like a dream. A waking dream. Everything worked out. Everything was underwater. There was peace. This has to be done. It has to be done. Her eyes flick back to the murky black water at the foot of the dam. There was quiet. It was a dream, but it wasn't a dream, you know what I mean? Jenna watches Heather, keeping close appraisal of her twitchy hand upon that revolver. Yeah, I do. Jenna responds flatly. I think we all do at this point, at least somewhat. I can see Flynn up against the rock ledge, moonlight glinting off the metal barrel of his repeater. He's looking at us with a curious expression. Then you understand? You don't, do you? The question must have been rhetorical, because she answers it before we can. I knew it! I should have stopped you when you broke into my house. You're bad, just like the rest of them. She raises the gun. There's the pitter-patter of small feet behind me, and the next thing I know, Micah's right at my side. One of his paws is on the small of my back, the other outstretched in front of us. Whoa, 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 wait a second! Heather's tear-filled eyes shift to the bat. You again? God, why are you all here? Hear me the fuck out. No, you hear me out, idiot! Keith was like an umbrella. All the bad stuff bounced off when he was around. After Keith left, everything went to crap, and you know it. Everyone started getting weird or leaving. You left, so you never saw how it got bad. You didn't have to watch it happen. We were all such good friends, and then it's like I'm watching everyone dying. I feel like I'm dying, Micah. Everything hurts, and I can't think well anymore. And Daddy. She takes in a sharp inhale between her fangs, sputtering a bubble of spit before catching her breath. I just need to make it all go away, and everything will be fine. I'm gonna move somewhere happy. You can move and be happy right the fuck now. Nothing is stopping you. Micah spits back. This is just the hum talking. You and I know how this shit goes. It'll pass and you'll feel better. We'll all feel better. No! She screams, and Micah quickly ducks behind the edge of the doorway. She brings up her revolver. I do the same, though for a second I think I see a flash of color behind her that wasn't there before. I peek past the edge of the concrete wall long enough to realize what it is. Jenna sees it too. That same tall, burned figure from Brian's trailer. It looms in the back of the room, staring at us, waiting. It's almost like a statue, unmoving beyond little twitches where it suddenly shifted in position. It's unstable, or at least that's the best way I can describe it. Jenna, I see it. Heather's ranting about something, but I can't really focus. It's getting closer, another foot nearer to Heather. What the shit? Jenna steps out from behind the wall suddenly, holding up the palms of her paws. Wait! Astonishingly, both Heather and the thing stop, though it's still very much there, looming in the background. It's as if the world itself is distorting around it. 3 holes pierce his face where the eyes and mouth should be. I look back up towards where Flynn is at. He definitely should be able to see this thing, and I half expect a shot ring out at any moment. When I glance back, the thing isn't looking at Heather anymore. Its dark holes are aimed towards the hill outside the door where Flynn is. Heather stands Wyatt stance, her finger an inch from the trigger. Heather, when I was growing up, I was very fortunate. It's not something I truly realized until relatively recently. Despite my circumstances at home, I truly had some incredible people and other things. Jenna's eyes briefly flick up to the figure, looking out for me. The figure's head tilts ever so slightly. Brian is dead. Your father, he's certainly fucking dead. There's some zeal to Jenna's words, and it becomes rather evident she thinks that this is a good thing. And they can't hurt you anymore. A thick tear streaks down Heather's cheek as Jenna takes a step closer, pointing outside to the south. Back in town, there are still people who genuinely care about you. The ones who have stuck with you through all this. Jeremy, he's a complete turd, and I'd give him a piece of my mind if I saw him. But he genuinely likes you. The same with Clint. But Clint talks about all the things we used to do to you guys growing up. All the things that were said. Why are you saying they're good? What we do as children does not have to define us as adults. Heather, I don't honestly believe you want to hurt your friends. Heather shuddered, hugging herself. I'd honestly be tempted to rush her for the gun if that thing weren't still standing behind her, watching Jenna speak. Heather sobs. Her thin wrists are trembling as if the weight of the pistol in her paws had burdened her for too long. Finally they droop, the gun limply hitting the floor. I flinch, though thankfully it doesn't go off. The red entity lingers so close to Heather, it's practically touching her. Then, as if a great silent wind sucks it backward, its body contorting to the poles, a strip of its flesh disappearing into the void. Then it vanishes, fading into nothing. I rub my eyes, and it's gone. I can hear Jenna shudder beside me before stepping up and taking the guide and keys and tossing them promptly into the water below. Mikey picks up the gun, flicking open the chamber, spitting it with his thumb. Out of bullets. Fucking hell. Flynn skids down the hill, nearly tripping as he hustles over. Huh. You mad fucking tit-dirts actually did it. Micah and Jenna are staring at the spot where the monster was moments ago. Flynn, despite having us in his sights the whole time, seemed obvious. You should get to the key to the city or something. You should get the key to the city or some shit. Though, that probably only unlocks an outhouse or something. Micah walks past him, letting out a string of unintelligible expletives and shaking his head. The sun begins to rise past the mountains to the east. The sky is starting to become illuminated with purple and amber hues. In the distance, you can just barely make out one of the Mormon settlements down the river, on the edge of the reservation. I rest my head against the side of the truck, mentally exhausted beyond words. I try to think of the entity, but it's like trying to remember a dream. A fading horror that seemed so real at the time, but surely couldn't be. It's a soft thud beside me, and I soon realize it's Leo's butt. The wolf holding his conscious head in both paws as he rests beside me. Ugh. About ready to head out, Otter? TJ and Carl approach, the ram shivering as the lynx gently rubbing his back. Oh, where are we going? He helps the ram up in the back. I mean, in a bit, I guess? Jenna and Micah are talking to Heather. Flynn wanders over, throwing the rifle in the back before leaning up his rump against the tire. In the past, when shit got tough, the lizard would always run off to deal with things on his own terms. Yet here he is, slumped and exhausted like the rest of us. Finally, Jenna joins us. I give her a little thumbs up as I pass. She returns the gesture before sitting down as well. She props her chin up in her paws, her fluffy tail perked to avoid getting smushed in the dirt. This is the main. Is it really the main menu picture? Oh, hi, Bubba. Hi. Want to say hi to Twitch chat? Oh, look at that little smile. If I had an actual camera, I'd focus it on you right now, because you just have the biggest smile right now. My dog is sitting right next to me, and he just has like this really, really goofy smile as I'm petting him on the head. What, you not sleepy? Them sitting by the truck? Wait, huh? I, I mean, I don't see it, but unless if you mean like the splash screen, but I don't know, I didn't see that either. We sit in relative silence beyond the faint sound of crickets and gently lapping water. You know, I'm gonna miss this place. Everyone is just dead silent about that. The text you read. Wait, what? Hold on. Hold up. He's gently rubbing his back. Okay, let me see this. Wait. Oh no, you're right. This is the picture here. Huh. Fuck me. You know I was joking, right? I expected some laughter there. I think you're plenty funny, Jenna. I respond entirely. Micah, seemingly out of nowhere, comes up and props his elbow on the hood. Shut up, Chase. Now, are we fucking off or what? Ooh. Oh my god, wait. Are we Oh my god, we are actually in normal civilization. Holy shit. No fucking way. No fucking way. We are actually back to normalcy. I dab my napkin in TJ's glass of water, wiping off the sticky syrup stain on my seat before sitting down. The lynx giving me a little look before taking a sip from his glass. Ah, about time. Here they come. Flynn's peering out the window towards the sheriff's office across the street. Sure enough, our trio of friends exit through the glass double doors, checking for traffic before crossing over to us. A few reporters from the parking lot spot them, try to get their attention, but Leo ushers them forward. He mutters something and Micah laughs, glancing over his shoulder. Jenna just shakes her head, clearly annoyed but relieved nonetheless. A few more squad cars roll out, honking at the news vans to get out of the way before heading down to the direction of Echo. The police were sure busy in there. Yeah, no wonder. They're all gonna be in deep shit for their lack of response to all this. What was it, 14 hours before they even sent out a squad car to investigate the blackout? Well, the detective I talked to claimed they sent them out earlier, but there was some kind of traffic trouble. They couldn't get to us. Oh yeah, traffic trouble. That sure is a fucking valid excuse to ignore a whole town suddenly losing its internet and telephone communications. Flynn grunts, the Gila looking over toward the quiet ram at his side. He's still wearing his dirty tank top, even though the EMTs bandaged up the cuts and arms and the fetlocks. Fortunately, Leo's dad called and said that he's going to pick up a fresh pair of clothes for him. He also stated that Leo, Flynn, and Carl could stay over at their house while the authorities sort everything out. Oh my god. Actual legal authority in Echo? Holy shit. Oh my god. Since they closed off the Flint Road across to Echo, no one can exactly go back for their stuff. Not that we're in any rush to go back, of course. The ram stares at the checkboard pattern tabletop, saying nothing. Flint frowns, nudging the ram with his shoulder. Hey, fat ass, why don't you take a look at the menu? I bet some chocolate chip waffles and ice cream sound good right about now, eh? The lizard smiles down at him as he slides over a menu. Carl looks up for a moment, then sluggishly flips it open. I think they serve your parents' brand of ice cream here. TJ forces a smile, which is a strange sight in and out of itself. A happy face usually comes so naturally to the Lynx, but now he just looks frazzled. Understandable, really. Something cold sounds good right about now. Fuck yeah, I bet. The ram flips to the next page, so I can see that he's not really reading anything. His face starts to scrunch and he exhales through his flared nostrils. He scrunches again and soon his gaze falters. His arms are beginning to shake. His eyes press shut and he lets out a nearly inaudible sob, tears rolling down his cheeks. Flynn reaches over and puts an arm around him, tugging him close. Shh, it's okay. He squeezes the ram's shoulder. Carl sniffs, hiccuping once before letting his muzzle push into Flynn's chest. TJ looks away, his own eyes beginning to water again. I'm gonna order you the banana split and big glass of lemonade. He pauses. Also a salad, for your health and shit. The lynx begins to quietly cry, though keeps his face hidden by a napkin. Must be making quite the scene for the other folks in here, but rightly I don't give too much of a damn. However, this is all making me realize that I sure could go for a hug right about now. Flynn, still holding the traumatized ram, looks at me across the booth with a soft frown. As the two non-weeping members of our group here, I guess that's some solidarity in that. Not that I feel particularly great or anything. I certainly feel a lot less numb that he didn't echo, though. Thinking about all that happened really freaks me out, so I've just been trying not to. At least right now. Chase? Yeah? Thanks. His tone of voice is so strange and sincere. I can't hide my look of surprise. No problem, though I think we owe the most to Jenna and Micah. Yeah, I already talked to them at the station. Never would have thought that that little shithead bat would ever do anything that didn't serve himself. Yeah, he's pretty cool, I guess. I kinda think you would get along with him. Flynn lets out a little grunt, running a hand up and down along the ram's arm. I wouldn't push it that far. And guess we'll never know, cause I'm moving the fuck out quick like. My house is probably worth jack shit now, even less than it was before, but I'll worry about money later. TJ wipes his eyes, clearing his throat. Maybe you could start one of those online fundraiser things, since this is getting so much attention on the news. I'm sure there are plenty of people like folks in my church who would be happy to donate to help you get on your feet. Take charity from strangers? Flynn looks out toward the news and vans outside. A particularly antsy-looking newswoman is currently getting chewed out by a police officer in SWAT gear, though it looks like the news lady is grilling him right back, shoving a microphone in his face. Do you think that's what I wanted to be one day? A guy with a camera, chasing tragedies for profit. Maybe I should just change my major. I glance back toward Flynn and Carl, and the ram is still visibly crying, no longer whacked by quaking sobs. For some reason I smile, if only for a moment. Or you could just marry the wealthy heir you helped save from the abduction a couple hours ago. I'm sure that comes with some financial stability. TJ immediately stops crying, blinking at me, then Flynn across the table. Flynn's eyes go wide before he quickly furrows his brow. Fuck you, Chase. Despite everything, if the lizard could blush, I have a feeling he'd be doing so right now. Carl does seem to hug onto him a little tighter. The bells on the front door jingle as they're pushed open, and I can see Leo peeking in, searching for us. Once he spots our booth, he gestures in our direction toward the others and make their way over. I swear, those fucking useless pigs are gonna keep me locked in there indefinitely till you vouch for me. Just because they can't do their fucking job, they gotta find someone to pin all this bullshit on. Why not the kid with the record? They're still trying to figure out what exactly happened. And they won't, because it ain't the sort of thing that can be figured, you know? Oh yes, I know that now. And there's Leo, or himbo boy. Jenna closes her eyes for a moment, though they're open again, and she startles from Leo coming up behind her. He's about to speak when a particularly rotund alligator woman saunters up behind me. She's wearing a white polo shirt, jeans, and a blue pancake house apron. Can't imagine what Carl went through. Yeah, Carl went through the biggest shit. Like, Carl, like, he went through the most shit out of anybody in this group. Why, hello there. Y'all got enough room in here for the booth? She smiles, seemingly unfazed by the sorry state that we all look to be in. I suppose when you work at a 24/7 diner in the middle of the desert, you see some oddball customers. TJ blinks, then mutters an apology as he scoots himself over closer to Flynn. I do the same and Jenna moves to sit beside me. Micah and Leo take the opposite side. We're in a long corner booth that actually has several mini tables, but with all of us together, we're shoulder to shoulder in here. We tell the waitress what we want in no particular order. Micah particularly blurts out what he wants. Oh, not particularly, practically. 2 hash browns, 6 house-style waffles, toast with strawberry jam, and a side of bacon. Meanwhile, I ask for a large iced tea with a bowl of vanilla ice cream. Jenna insists I get something healthy in my stomach, so she offers to split her turkey sandwich. I smile at her and I accept, relaxing against the pleather backing of the booth seat. Our server finally gets to Flynn and Carl. Both of them don't seem to be too focused on what she's saying. Flynn is staring at his phone and Carl is leaning into him with a distant look in his eyes. TJ gingerly nudges the gala, and Flynn quickly looks up at the alligator. Oh, a banana split and a garden salad, please, with 2 lemonades. Pink. What? Pink lemonade. Flynn looks at Carl like his last shred of masculinity can't possibly bear to utter those words aloud. Yeah, pink lemonade fucks. I don't know what you're talking about, Flynn. Fortunately, the waitress writes down Carl's correction with that same unjudging smile. 2 pink lemonades. Ugh. Alright, if that's all, I'll be back with you folks in a bit. Bubbas, can you not eat your foot, please? Can you not eat your foot? Do not eat your foot, or else I'm gonna have to put a boo-boo on it. If there's something about your foot that's bothering you, I've gotta put a boo-boo on it, okay? My dog is licking his paws now like crazy. I can hear it through my headsets. Apologies for that. Carl lowers his noggin back into Flynn while the Gila goes back to staring at his phone. I can't get a hold of my aunt. Mayor aunt? Yes, my aunt who's the mayor. Maybe she's tied up with the police, sorting stuff out. I offer reassuringly, picking up a sugar packet from the table and emptying it in my mouth like an absolute cretin. Yeah, but you think she'd call me back? Leo raises an eyebrow at me from across the table, taking a sugar packet for himself. Hey, Otter. You should have heard Carl's dad falling over himself thanking Jenna over the phone. All the cops in there were calling her a hero, yeah? Oh, quiet you. Hey, I try to play big hero too. Just happened to get shot for my efforts. Guess you're not as much of a smooth talker. Jenna groans, folding her arms in front of her chest. Gotta hydrate? Okay. This is the last of my water, though. There we go. Posture check as well? Okay. Okay, that should be good. Bark. How's your wound doing, by the way? My wing? Well, I won't be flying again anytime soon, which I'm fine with. Micah's wings are largely vestigial. As I understand it, not meant to carry a fully anthropomorphic person in flight. However, they're still big enough to slow descent when falling, or to keep you up in the air for a bit when you're being hung by a razor-bladed noose. The paramedic guy sprayed me with the stuff. I should be fine. I've had worse piercings. Piercings? I don't see any. I know. Jenna frowns. Leo gives a sidelong look, thinning his lips along with the contours of his jowls. The wolf's attention flicks back to me before he downs one of his sugar packets in his grasp. He and I just used to swipe these from the diner all the time. Creamers too. You always go for the aspartame or the stevia-based ones though? I can see Jenna giving us a curious glance before refocusing her attention onto me. Anyway, the police were pretty happy with you too. It takes a second to realize to what she's referring to, and I quickly waved a dismissive paw. Well, I'm sure it just gave them more work. That is their job, Chase. TJ, who's been relatively silent next to me, looks increasingly perplexed. His ears are folded downward. With everything going on, I realized I haven't told the rest of the gang about my discovery. For those not present, I found an old corpse on the side of the road from like the 70s. This gets Carl, Flynn, and TJ's attention. I found it is putting it mildly. He picked a patch of dirt and started digging it out until he found a guy's body and wallet. What? I hold up my paws, shaking my head. I can't explain it. To be honest, I can't explain a lot of things. Yeah, I think Micah was implying that he got his wings pierced once. The fact that his body is so old though means I'm not a suspect, or at least a weirdly sour feeling courses through my body and I instinctively squeeze my tail beneath the table. But they ran the guy's name through the system. His disappearance was so long ago they don't even have a record of it anymore. They did find a living family though, or at least a point of contact from what I heard. Jenna smiles. I'm sure whoever they are, they'll be grateful for what you did. After 4 decades? I'm not so sure. Maybe it'll just dig up old wounds, raising more questions than answers. Prince Albert? Wait, what? Wait, what am I missing here? Bark, I'm confused. It's not like I told the police in my dream about the van or anything, or who the original owner was. To think Sydney's dad killed a guy. No wonder he had ended up the way he did. There's a moment of silence, Micah staring at impatiently in the kitchen and Flynn dialing up his aunt again. Until later? Alrighty. Gotcha. Jenna exhales, breaking the quiet. Regardless, I'm just glad you all are okay. Micah's fingers and neck are healing up nicely, and you two are finally getting separated. Jenna nods towards Leo and I. There's no way in hell that phrasing wasn't intentional. She has this self-confident smile on her face, though when neither of us respond, it diminishes. Leo just looks kinda distant. Not like before, of course, when he was all loopy post-bed beatdown, but like he's got a lot in his mind like he hasn't really processed yet. I know exactly how he feels. Dick. Micah muses, idly tearing stripes of his napkin off. Huh? Dick. That was a dick thing to say. Well, that's pretty rich coming from you. Mike is about to say something when Jenna cuts him off speaking first. No, he's right. She brings her fingers to her temple for a moment, thinking before focusing on Leo and I, making sure to meet our gaze. Acting like we're all still in high school, teasing you two about your relationship. It's not appropriate. And ultimately, it's driven by jealousy. Leo blinks. Jenna? It's not something I'd like to admit, but a lot of what I do is driven by that. The need to experience things that I wasn't afforded growing up. Micah looks up from his napkin evisceration, the edge of his mouth curled into a soft frown. Flynn glances over as well. A prank I orchestrated over 3 years ago led to this whole situation, picking at a raw nerve and leaving it to fester. My mind flashes to images of my smashed cell phone sitting on the pavement, Leo calling for me as I walked away. Do you think you two should be together? No. But is that any of my goddamn business? Also no. And for that, I apologize. Wow. Flynn speaks my mind. We should go through more tragedies if it gets you to admit that you're just as shitty as us for a change. Flynn grunts. Jenna waves off Flynn's comment. But seriously, Leo, don't hump Chase at a children's arcade and then destroy it when you get caught. You smashed up an arcade? I did. You know, I'm a kind of a rebel. A real badass. Leo clicks his tongue against the roof of his mouth, letting a moment of silence pass as he glances offward. Nah, I'm a fucking idiot. Don't worry, Leo. I know that feeling too, because I am a fucking idiot as well. Leo seems to be purposefully avoiding Jenna in his eyes gaze. Hey, people do worse things under the effects of the hum. Manifesting a tulpa of one's ex-boyfriend is a bit much, no? Ex-boyfriend. I suppose that settled it, though I can feel how much it hurt for him to say that. He smiles regardless, of course. Well, if the tulpa's giving a good head, then there's not much to complain about. Seriously, what the fuck are you guys talking about? I can't help but chuckle, and a few others do too, including Leo. To describe any of this in any sort of way that does it justice seems utterly untenable. Like, I reckon it's best if we put some time and a few beers in between this event and us before getting into the nitty-gritty details, yeah? Oh, planning another Echo meetup already? I asked, trying to sound more lighthearted than I feel. Fuck no, Otter. We've got the internet if we want to talk. And my inbox is always open, though I think therapy may be the safer bet than beers. I could get you some harder stuff. Jenna sighs. Like? She seems to regret the question the moment she says it. Yeah, you ever had a foot-tall devil dog cake with strawberry, cherry, and raspberry filling? I know a place off of Santa Rita and Busby in Pueblo. Would take your mind off of anything. I can also get you some heroin. Micah, for God's sake. I'm just kidding, Christ. The cake place closed years ago. We talked for a few more minutes, mainly riffing on what the hell we're all going to do after this. That does sound good, yeah. I could go for a refreshing cake. The food arrives before Jenna and I really get a chance to weigh in, though. Not that I'm complaining, of course. The vanilla ice cream looked delicious. And Jenna's sandwich she offered to split doesn't look too bad either. She sets it gingerly on my plate. Flynn glares at his pink lemonade as if he just insulted him. Fucking hell. He glances over to Carl, who seems to be working up the energy to sit up right enough to eat his food. This looks like you're pissed after too many energy drinks. That was once. Carl speaks up in a sniffly voice. The lizard looks like he's about to take a tentative drink right when his phone goes off. He quickly snatches it up. Hello? Mark. He leans forward, resting his elbows on the tabletop. Yeah, hi. I left a message earlier. Have you heard anything from my aunt? He frowns suddenly. Okay. Why? Alright. The lizard takes Carl by the shoulders and straightens him out. The bleary-eyed ram blinking some as Flynn tries to stand and scoot past him. I'll be right back. Flynn, after accidentally hip-bumping Micah in the face half a dozen times, manages to exit the booth. He heads out towards the parking lot. Ordinarily, I get the impression that this would annoy the shit out of the bat, but he's just too excited for his plate of food to complain. He dives into the bacon first, shoving it all into his mouth as a whole wad. Even Leo raises his eyebrows a bit. Don't choke. I think Micah mumbles an expletive at him. The hungry guy is already moving on to his jam and toast him by the time I bite into my sandwich. We eat in silence for the most part, though it's not exactly awkward. I think we're just mainly content to have each other's company after everything we've been through. I can't fathom being alone with my thoughts after all this. Though in the quiet, I did get to thinking about that voice that spoke to me by the van. It seems like a distant memory now, but it was so clear. We've been together for some time. I'm with you. You are indecisive by nature. I choose. Those words stick out to me the most. Glancing out around my friends, I decide to try something. Let the ambient noise of the diner fade out, focusing on trying to remember that voice, the one I've heard before. I close my eyes, emptying my mind of worries and other thoughts, and I wait. Jenna nudges my shoulder, french fry poking out of the corner of her mouth. You fallen asleep on me, Chase? I refocus, managing a reassuring smile. Oh, no, I'm just, taking a moment. Oh. She nods as if this made perfect sense, no clarification needed. You holding up alright, though? You know, I think I'm okay, actually. Really? Her tone is skeptical, though in a sort of jokey way. Yeah, really. She finishes the rest of her fries, wiping her paws off with a napkin before something catches her attention across the room. Oh, would you look at that, a jukebox. I follow her gaze, spotting it by the door to the bathroom. It's pretty retro. It even has those plastic neon-filled tubes that flash when it's turned on. You don't see many of those these days, or jukeboxes in general. I think maybe most folks saw it more of a nuisance than a mood setter. Come on, let's take a look. Okay. I'm not sure why this was so interesting to her. After scooting out, she offers me her shoulder, her tail swishing gently behind her. I offer her a little nod of thanks, using it to help myself stand. Leo looks up at me from his plate of chicken and waffles. We meet each other's gaze for first few seconds and he smiles. Alright, easy now. The EMTs already gave my leg a proper dressing after we got to the police station. Hell, they even tried to get Leo and I to go with them to the hospital. And of course, the last thing Leo wanted was for us to all get split up again. I actually agreed with him this time. Plus, I heard horror stories about ambulance bills. I relinquish my leaning on Jenna and we walk. I hobble toward the jukebox. The music selection is pretty dated for the most part, though there's some modern dance hits thrown in there, surprisingly enough. Oh man. You know, we have not heard this theme in a hot minute. This feels good to hear again. They're scribbled on with permanent marker on the sticky note labels. Jenna makes a show of inspecting the options, though she speaks up toward me. Hey. Hello. She lets out a little laugh, then sighs. Sorry, just I haven't gotten a moment to speak alone with you for some time. Something on your mind? She nods. A lot, actually. There's a considerable amount of things we've been seeing, that we've experienced that will never make plausible sense to anyone but us. Jenna gestures discreetly towards the rest of the group at the booth. I notice that Flynn is still not back. It does sort of put everything into perspective, I guess. Yeah. Part of me wonders whether I made the right decision. The musing comes as a surprise. Jenna never is one to really doubt her choices, or at least makes such doubt known. What do you mean? Well, from what I figured out from both of your historical research and what Micah said, this hysteria is cynical. Is, is cyclical. It always comes back and ends up hurting whoever is around it. Now I don't know whether it's gases seeping through the ground, weird radio signals, or something in the water, and I'm not sure if anyone ever will. But what Heather wanted to do, flooding the town, that would certainly put a stop on anyone trying to live there again. I don't think anyone is going to be wanting to stick around there for a long time after this. Jenna's gaze shifts to the tile floor beneath our feet. Yeah, for a long time, she repeats. I try to think of what to say next. In the background, I can hear Micah saying something crude about the oranges of syrup. I glance back and see Leo chuckling and TJ covering his face. Ooh. Carl stares out the window. I don't know if you can really fight forces of nature. Whatever is going on, it feels much bigger than us. But what you can do is help people, I guess. But what can you do than help people, I guess? And that counts for something. What you did for Heather, despite everything she did to you, that counts. Second chances and all that. Jenna smiles. Chase, that's very nice of you to say. Very sappy, of course, but still sweet. I'm not quite sure I can fully see it that way, at least not yet. Her tail thwacks me a little, and after a brief moment of nearly teetering over, I thwack back. You know, I think we all turned out okay, noting the circumstances. Echoes this tiny town in the middle of nowhere, and this shitty situation's brought us together in the end. And I don't regret that. She taps her fingertips against the glass of the jukebox, looking elsewhere. I wonder what it would be like if Sydney was still here. The question catches me off guard. As far as I knew, Jenna never really liked the kid back in the day. Still, I guess he was part of our group, hence the thought maybe. I don't know. I don't want to really think about it, to be honest. Maybe he'd help Leo beat the shit out of Brian. I blink at her, the words sounding strange coming from her mouth. She looks at me, furrowing her brow. What? He was really into that wrestling stuff. I cross my arms over my chest. I guess. There's a long silence. I had a dream about him early on in the week. And once everything started, hitting the proverbial fan, I remember hearing these strange voices. She doesn't elaborate on that specific thought further, shifting focus to me. I didn't make anything of them at the time, but noting everything that happened later? She stops for a moment. If you want to talk to me about what happened sometime, just let me know, okay? I try to read her expression, the offer seemingly sincere. I don't see any sign of judgment or scrutinizing intent to her words. As usual around her, I find myself not quite sure what to say. Whatever happened to you claiming you're not a therapist? I'm not. I'm your friend. And I wanted to stay that way for a long time. Despite my wariness at that original question, I can't help but feel a little fuzzy from that statement. Well, I'm happy you're my friend too. I'm gonna hate to see you leave for Weston after this semester. I've been thinking about that actually. I might just take the upcoming fall semester off from formal studies. Really? You've been pretty out about getting your education done as soon as possible up to this point. Well, I got some offers for a sabbatical lined up, as well as a part-time internship or two. Nothing that would really hurt my resume. There's still quite a lot you can do with a bachelor's degree. Is this the same Jenna I've known all these years? Taking it easy? I'm really shocked. I smirk and she just pats my shoulder affectionately. Hey, maybe your slacker ways have rubbed off on me. What? What are you talking about? I respond, putting on an indignant tone. Oh yeah, just spend the 4 months playing video games, catching up on my manga, flirting with hunky boys. You know how it goes. Hunky boys? Of course. And oh yeah, I almost forgot. Now that you survived a couple of near-death encounters, when are you gonna profess your love for Flynn? Jenna! She laughs over my grumbling. In the meanwhile, I'm definitely gonna start writing about our experiences here in Echo. Specifically our most recent ones. How it augmented the perceptions of people, sometimes even in groups. It's almost downright paranormal. Almost? Nothing's actually paranormal. I'm certain there's actual inputs and variables which determine certain triggers that resulted in what we saw. On a personal note, I'm just happy none of the effects seemed to linger once we left the town. No tulpa version of you hanging around Leo, no monster chasing TJ, no red figure following me, no visions of Keith for Micah or Heather. And you as well? How's that possession by the roadside ghost working out for you? I rub my head, feeling the welt from Brian's pistol whipping peeking out of my fur. I'm pretty sure he's gone. Huh. Who says you can't run away from your traumas then? She winks and I find myself smiling a little goofily. This is also insane, but I'm sure she's glad she's here. But I sure am glad she's here to talk me through it. Now, Chase Hunter, the true question. She turns to face the jukebox. What should we pick? Ooh, hold on. You know what? The hell with it. Why not? Oh, hold on. That's the different font. Oh, okay. I actually don't like that. You know what? I don't know. How about you choose? Jenna gives me a quick nod. Whatever you say. Oh, here, this one looks good. She leans in and presses a button on the machine. Move from person to person with trauma. I think whatever the ghost spirit moves from person. Probably, but... Oh... my gosh, chat. That, I think, is the end of Echo. Wow, dude. What a game! And look at that, like, it's going through, like, all the CG art now, because, like, I think it knows that we've completed the game. Wow, dude. What a game. Like, holy shit. Like, it took us 2 years to get this game done, but I am so glad that we've finally finished this. Because Echo has just been that one game where, like, I've just wanted to finish for the longest time. And every single storyline I've just absolutely enjoyed. Wow. Welcome to move to Sam. Sam died. Moved to Sydney. Dad. Dad died and moved to Sydney. Sydney died. Oh wow. That's interesting. That. Wow. Oh my god, dude. The Echo team or the Echo project. Well done. Well done indeed. What a good game, dude. Like, this has to be... Like, I don't care what anyone says. This is by far, without a shadow of doubt, the best visual novel out there. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take a look at that, but... Wow. Like, you have to remember that this game, like, it had like 5 years of development. Or no, was it 7 years? Or I'm not sure. I think it was 5 years, yeah? Or was it 7 years? But, wow. What a game. So we started... We're on page 5 of our saves here. June 17th. So what? You know what? Hold on. Let me look this up. Cause I uploaded Echo gameplay like a long time ago. I gotta find the first episode now. Let's see. Yeah, May 16th, 2021 was the first time that we played this game. And as of July 25th, 2023, Echo is officially done. Let's actually look at some of the extras here. Oh man. These were the very first scenes. And here was Carl's CG arts. This I think is still oops. I think that this is still one of my favorite like works of art that they did for the CG scenes. This is still one of my favorites. Like everything just looks so pretty here. The vibes are immaculate. And then of course snuggling with snuggling. Oh man. And then of course, like every story was just so different. And like I remember very vividly that like Carl's route was like it was set completely different. It was set in like a completely different reality, and wow. Then here was the first scene with Leo and us. Okay, this one right here, without a shadow of doubt, this one is by far my favorite CG art. Like I just really love the portrait of Leo and Chase hanging out together right here, and just like this abandoned high school that they used to go to, and it's now abandoned. And then this one was the one that genuinely scared the living shit out of me the first time I saw it. And if you didn't know where this was from Brian's route, where we were the ones trapped there. So this is what Carl went through the whole time in that route. And then this is new art. This is new art. This was not here in the older version. Like, this one certainly was. But this one is definitely new. And I just love the fact that it's like illustrated in this way. Like, this is just so creepy. Like you can actually see the outlet hole monster for what it is. And then I think this scene also replayed in Flynn's route as well, if I remember correctly. Yep, and then the monster's not there. And then we also have this one with Chase and TJ. I think this one is also one of my favorites. Like, I am a huge sucker for art with a lot of landscape on it. And this one, of course, we've seen this one on the release page. And then this one was the thumbnail for, well, it was sort of kind of the thumbnail for the video I did with the gameplay with finishing up TJ's route. Oh, I did not expect to see that turn coming, and then here was the aftermath of everything there. Like, I do kind of wish, though, that there was art for showing the aftermath of what Flynn looked like near the end for Flynn and TJ's routes. And then here we have them in the smoke room. And then, oh, this one was the spider scene. Oh, yeah. This one I think is still one of the most disturbing CG arts, because this was one of them that I did not expect at all. And it genuinely took me by surprise, and the music that went with it just like it sent chills and shivers down my spine when I was playing it. And then here we have adult Sydney here, and I think that this one is still like one of the most powerful CG arts in this game. And then this one with Jenna, I still don't really get why this one was with Jenna. Like, I think that this one was kind of like this one was another type of build-up for Jenna's route. I was always confused what this one was. I never knew what it was until just today. So that was great to see. Okay, but you said click the lake and window pane. Go all the way to the bottom? Oh, there is more! Holy shit, there is more! Okay, we are going to have to come back to this. Oh my god. So I'm glad that they have short stories. Wait, how long are the short stories? Now come to think of it, for each of these. They're less than an hour each? Okay, so that would be like that could probably be like an entire stream too, right? Like these could probably be like 30 minutes each. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 170. Yeah, so this could be like 2.5 hours worth. But now we have all the music unlocked. Wow. You know, I'm actually kind of sad now. Because, like, I mean, we've almost beaten the game now. But there's just like, there's so many memories that I have with playing this game. Oh man. Wow. Echo by the Echo Project. Wow. That is just... That's like... I'm not saying this because, you know, I think that this is over. But I just want to say that... Wow. This game is a fucking masterpiece. I don't care what anybody says about any other visual novel. This game is a masterpiece. Everything is just so intricate and it's beautiful. And, you know, eventually when we do complete this game, I'm gonna be quite sad. Like, you know, I mean, I'll still open it from time to time, but at the same time, you know, like, wow, that's Echo. That's the game. Yeah, manga. We've been with this game for 2 years now, and it's just crazy that we've almost completed this game already. That being said, thank you so much for coming in. I'll see you in the next stream. Bye bye.